Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Evelyn. I'm here to introduce you to a new level of entertainment. The stars have aligned, connecting Brooklyn, New York, Sacramento, California, and Atlanta, Georgia. The team. Introducing Flatbush, Brooklyn's finest, the boss, Chef Chupino. Hailing from Sacramento, California, is Andrea Lynch. From the dirty South Atlanta, Georgia, is your boy, Victor Freeze Music, or just Vic.
Pop on jump, it's the weekend. Dream come true with the big friends. Hitting on doors, that's a defense. Rolling with all, that's an offense. It me change, you let me peachin'. With a bull shaking to my maybe drop bands. So they won't buy, nice sale. So they won't buy, you to give play. Baby, tell me what you want. Julian, well, I know you ain't from. Ever since remember we been knocking at the door. Y'all been moving paper, we be running up the school. Y'all before that pillar, we was sleeping on the floor. West side Africa, you know the shit ain't hard. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Bobby, driving all night long. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Bobby, baby, come roll with me. All night long. My time's relax, my mind's relaxed. I got now from who got next. Here's my number, just send a text. You got a man and she responds, nah. Okay, sure enough, I'ma let you go, don't wanna hold you up. I'ma call your phone when I put it up. Whoever let you go must be them as far. Wait far. Girl, you so fine, I'll pay for. Fly you first class to the lake bar. Body so blessed, I pray for. Body so blessed, I pray for. Because I don't care what you say. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Bobby, driving all night long. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Bobby, driving all night long. Why the hell I kill it? Night long. This the part where you get your girl, nigga. Make sure she focus, nigga. Make sure you focus, nigga. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, hit it. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Bobby, driving all night long. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Bobby, driving all night long. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Bobby, driving all night long. I don't care what they say. That's a hit for your ass, nigga. Hit for your ass, nigga. Prophet the One. Follow me on all Instagram sites, PROPHETTHEONE. That's Prophet the One in case you couldn't spell. But if you could, you already got it. Like Prophet like God, and then duh like duh, nigga. And then one like nigga, I'm the motherfucking one, nigga. You can't miss it. Follow me now.
YouTube, check. Mic, check. What's good? Getting little stuff situated here. What's going on with you? What's going on, my folks, my people? I don't want to call you followers. It's not a church, so you're not disciples. You know what I mean? The flowers and the rocks in the garden. What's going on? It's your boy Chef. and I want to welcome each and every one of you over for another installment of the Truth and Balance Show with myself and our wonderful co-host, wonderful co-host, Andrea Lynch. Let me bring Andrea up. You give me the thumbs up. Let me know you ready back there. Ready to rock. Uh-oh, she's ready to rock. Uh-oh, and she came with special jewelry for y'all. You understand what I'm saying?
No.
Now you got me nervous. You know, we talking about a redemption story today. You know, we talking about freedom. We talking about, incarceration. And now you come on my show dressed like one of the ladies that be doing the fellowship for the brothers in the jail.
I had to, change it up a little bit,
Understood. Well, as usual, well done. We would just look like some rough and tumble ragamuffins if it were not for you up in this piece here. All right. Before we introduce our guest, I just want to say thank you for coming through, Andrea, as well, and thank you for being wise enough to be able to procure, somebody with such an amazing story as well. So kudos to you on that. Over here, we don't do it by ourselves. It takes a lot of support. You get what I'm saying? And no one piece is stronger than the other. They each shine when they need to. So thank you.
I love a comeback story. That's my favorite ones.
Well, that's important because, we can't judge books by its cover. You understand? Right. So I'm going to send some love out to Dawn Frank. Thank you, Dawn, for joining. Of course, we got Andrea. What's up? Danique, thank you, my brother. Thanks for popping in. Blessings to you as well. Mika Marcel, greetings. A1 Day One, thank you for coming through. Aaron Laura, you are awesome. And your YouTube comments after the streams end, after you've reviewed or rewatched, is pivotal. I like that. And it's very impactful. Thank you. The other member of the team, 33.33333% of the team, Victor Freeze Music. What is good? What up, Big Vic? Hold it down. Yes, peace to the family. Who else we got before we kick this thing off? All right. So, without further ado, I could call him anything, you know what I mean? But just based on, what I've seen so far, he might be one of the highest paid people in YouTube excuse me. He must be paying out a lot of money on YouTube because anytime you mention Real Talk 87, it's good stuff they talking about him. So his payroll, he's either a really, really awesome dude or he got a big ass payroll. And you know what I mean? But look, without further ado, I want to bring him up to let him tell you guys what makes him a unique, special soul in this universe. My brother, Real Talk 87. Thank you for joining the stream, my brother. Salute.
What's up? How y'all doing, man? I wish I had a big payroll, but I don't. Sorry. So,
hey,
what's going on, y'all?
Sit down. Gold digger section. Sit down.
Hey, Rio, how you doing today?
I'm good. What's up, Andrea? Nice to be on the panel back with you finally for a while. Nice to have you.
Okay.
Yeah, no doubt.
She's been talking about you. Andrea's been talking about you for a minute in terms of how your story moved her. And this particular story itself was something that came about maybe over a month and change ago. And she had mentioned you in the story, and I was like, I had to tell her, I said, well, this is not a segment. She was talking about the story, and I was like, look, I'm not saying we can't do it. I'm not saying that. I said that's too powerful for a segment. That's its own show. You get what I'm saying? It's its own show. So, this was something that was in the making,
Yeah.
But you the star, man. I want you to tell these folks what makes you a unique soul within this universe.
All right, well, I told this. Andrea knows the story because I told it to on another channel. Shout out to Kenley V. I told it to her, and I ain't even told the story on my own channel. That's how much I don't like to, talk too much about it because I don't want it to come off as me just, I guess you want to call it like other people bragging or whatever. I don't want it to come off like that, so I don't really tell it like that. But I would say, I've been incarcerated. I did something in the past, and we'll get into that. And I ended up doing about 5 years in prison for it. And I came out thinking that, it was hopeless. I wouldn't be able to find a job. And within 2 months after I got released, I ended up getting the job that I wanted. And that was it. Everything was on the up from there. And since then, I got little kids in my neighborhood that, I see them doing, not the right thing. And I sit them to the side and talk to them, be like, hey, I've been here. You don't want to go here. Look, just, hey, do the right thing out there. So that's basically it.
All right. So, we talked, in terms of, we had communications in terms of, what's appropriate and inappropriate, right? So I did want to say, folks, Real Talk did state that he was willing to be candid. So let's make believe we're doing the Real Talk 87 biopic movie about your life. Who were you at 9, 10 years old?
9, 10 years old. First of all, I was born in San Diego. You see the hat right there. That's where I was born at. And I moved to Texas when I was about 5. So about 9 or 10, I was, just a kid who was, I wouldn't say lost because my mother did raise me well. Me, my younger brother, my older sister, she raised us all well. All right. So I wouldn't say I was lost, but I didn't have, I didn't know who my real father was. I grew up, my mother was married to this other man who was my little brother's father. And I grew up thinking that he was my father, my real father. And at about 8 or 9 years old, I found out that he's not my father. So I grew up the next few years confused on where my real father is and why he isn't in my life. So after that revelation that who I thought was my father was not my father, that sent me on the wrong path after that. So
around when did you realize that he wasn't your real pop?
All right, so it's a crazy story. So basically, me and my little brother, like, we only 2 years apart. So we grew up always fighting and bickering and fighting and all that, whatever. So one day, we in our room, we got bunk beds, and I'm messing with, I used to collect football cards. I'm a football fan. I used to collect a lot of football cards and all that. My brother walks in, and he's like 6 or 7 at the time. He walks in and just kicks my cards everywhere. So I look up, and I push him, and then, he pushed me back, and I said, "You better stop before I go tell Dad." And he was like, "Man, go tell my dad. I don't care." And I said, "What you mean? Your dad? That's my dad too." And he said, "That ain't your daddy." So, and then he started laughing or whatever. So I'm like, "What?" So I push him out the way, and I go, and his dad, who I thought was my dad too, he was in the living room watching a basketball game, and he's drunk. He's had a few drinks or whatever, so he's kind of drunk. And overall, I will say this about him. He wasn't a bad father figure to me. He was actually really good, but I just didn't like being around him when he was, wasted or whatever. But I went up to him and I said, "Daddy, Malcolm," which is my brother, I said, "Malcolm, he's saying you ain't my daddy. Is that true?" And then he just looks at me with some bloodshot eyes. He didn't say, "No, I'm not your daddy." He didn't say that, but the look in his eyes told me everything that I needed to know. And so he grabbed me by my shirt and he said, "Just go back to your room." And then he pushed me, he shoved me, and I fell back. And that's pretty much how I found out that he wasn't my real father.
And how did it make you feel?
I felt messed up because I felt lied to. And after that, it was like, I couldn't really, I did blame my mother at the time because she never told me that man wasn't my father. She never told me that. And I guess she was just trying to protect me or whatever. I don't know what it was. Like, I never really asked her, but I just felt betrayed because my mother, of course, knew that this wasn't my father. My little brother knew that this wasn't my father. My older sister knew this wasn't my father. I'm the only person in the family that did not know that this was my daddy. So I felt betrayed by the whole family, pretty much.
Were you? I don't want to skip too far ahead because I know there's different pockets of your life that you had gone through, you know, but just kind of skipping ahead with the spoiler alert. Have you been able to emotionally forgive or understand them for not telling you?
Oh, of course, yeah. Yeah, my brother. Of course, I forgave him because we were kids. So, you know, he told me eventually that he didn't say that to try to make me feel bad, nothing like that. He was just a kid. So of course, I forgave my little brother, and then my mother, of course, I forgave her because I did feel like she was trying to just protect me or whatever. And my stepdaddy, of course, me and him had a talk later on, and he said he never tried to make me feel like an outcast. So I forgave him. I mean, he was, like I said, he was never just a bad father figure to me. He was a pretty damn good stepfather. So I forgave everybody.
Cool. So around when, like around what age was this? You kind of figured it out?
I think I was about, this happened in 95 or 96. It was like, I want to say I was 9. Yeah, about 9. Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's start moving further. We get to the adolescent Real Talk 87, the middle school Real Talk 87. How different was he than the one that thought that that Malcolm's daddy was your daddy originally? How were you changed at that point? How different were you at the middle school age, just maybe 4 years later?
Man, at that time, the middle school Real Talk was a firecracker. Like, I was a hothead. I was short tempered, and at that time, I put all that blame on my family. At that point in time, like, I'm the reason why y'all the reason why I'm this way now. So yeah, I was a firecracker. I got into a whole lot of fights at school. Like, I got suspended a couple times. I even fought my brother a whole lot more, except this time, like, compared to the other times when we were younger, we were fighting. You know, it was just a little fight, whatever. This time I was trying to hurt him. Like, you really ain't my brother. Like, if we ain't got the same daddy, you ain't my brother. That's how I was feeling at that moment. So it's like, fuck you. You understand? Excuse my language. But that's how I was feeling. That's how I was feeling at that moment. That you ain't my brother if we ain't got the same daddy. Even though that's a lie, but that's how I was feeling at that particular moment. So yeah, about the middle school Real Talk I was hard to deal with everybody. Everybody felt like I was just hard to deal with, and I couldn't blame them at that point in time. If it was me on the outside looking in, I couldn't deal with me either at that point in time. So I felt where people were coming from. Most definitely.
From what it seems like is that, and you knew at that time too, where you had a reason. You almost felt as though you had a reason or that extra chip on your shoulder because of the feelings of betrayal. That's what I'm reading from it. You know?
Yeah, I felt at that point in time that there's a reason why I'm acting out. There's a reason why. And at that time, like middle school, I didn't even, like I said, I was like, I never talked to my mama about it because I didn't want to know the truth on where my real father was and none of that, which I eventually did find out where he was, but I never talked to her about it. She just felt like I was just, going through that stage that she felt that our kids go through, which is rebellion. But my rebellion was different from other kids' rebellion. So, yeah.
You ever thought about them kids that you might have taken that rage out on every once in a while? You ever take a thought and like, man, what if one of them ran up on me in an alley today? Any of those kids?
I know what, I never thought about that, but that is something to think about because I never just went back and apologized to none of those kids I ended up fighting and just beating up. I never just went back and apologized. But I mean, if I could see them now, I've grown now. I'm 34 now. So of course I would, go up to them and be like, yo, my bad for what I did to you in middle school. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm a changed man, all that. I'm pretty sure they'll forgive me. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure they're not holding that over my head now, but just for me to get it off my chest, because I'm still thinking about all the kids I done beat up and got suspended from. So I'm still thinking about it. You understand? So hopefully they either forgot about it or they forgiven me for doing all that.
Well, did your mom make you go to they see you like the counseling or anything like that? when you was in middle school?
No, she didn't. She didn't really do any of that. She just was like, "Huh, well, that's just him. He's just acting out. He's being rebellious." She didn't put two and two together. Like she didn't even know at that particular moment when I was in middle school. She didn't know at that particular moment that I knew that he wasn't my real dad. She didn't know that they already spilled the beans pretty much. She didn't even know this yet. She's still thinking that I think that that's my daddy. She's still thinking that. I never told her. So.
Question, because I'm moving into pockets, right? We got like 4 different actors playing you in the movie, in the Real Talk 87 biopic right now. So we met the 8-9-year-old, we're at the 12-13-year-old. All right, before we go to the next one, it's gonna sound real therapy couches. How was your relationship with mama? You know what I mean? Like, was there other kids besides Malcolm, or was it just y'all two? Was it just you and Malcolm and your parents? Or how did y'all relate, you and mom?
Oh no, she had 3 kids. It was me, my little brother Malcolm, and then my older sister Brandy. So she was 5 years older than us, but we didn't see her a whole lot because she stayed in trouble as well. She went to juvenile for a spell and then ended up going to prison herself. So we didn't see Brandy, my sister, my older sister.
Brandy, okay.
Yeah, she ended up going to prison for a little while. So we didn't see too much of her, but when she was there, we didn't really get along like that, me and my sister. Like, none of us really got along with her. But I felt like, even though I love my mother and she did what she could to take care of all of us, I still felt like the black sheep. You see what I'm saying? Because my sister knew who her daddy was. My brother knew who his daddy was. I didn't know, and my mother doesn't know that I knew that he wasn't my daddy. You understand? So I felt like the black sheep because, first of all, I'm the middle child, and anybody who's a middle child knows that the middle children feel like we get ignored a lot. Like
Marsha.
Yes, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, like the youngest, we feel like the youngest gets the most attention, and the oldest is always just the big rebellious one, so she gets a lot of attention too. And the middle child is forgotten about. So, but overall, I always thought I never just blamed her for anything really, except that whole thing about my father. That's it.
Damn, that's heavy. That's heavy. Sometimes we know the parents, there's normally 2 reasons that I think that a parent will not tell the child about the father. One is because they're trying to keep the child away from the father. And then the other one is that they're trying to protect the child from the father. You ever thought maybe she felt if it was a situation that maybe you was better off with Malcolm's, being raised by Malcolm's daddy as opposed to your dad?
I'm not sure about that because, like I said, his father, which I still call him daddy. So even though he passed away, rest in peace to him, he passed away a few years ago. But I still felt like even when he was still alive, I still called him daddy because I didn't know mine. So I still always called him daddy because he never really just did me any kind of wrong except when he was drunk, when he just acted out the way he did. But he acted out that same way to his own son. So, I mean, I felt like he wouldn't treat me no different. But he was a good dad, but I just feel like maybe at that point in time, I wasn't sure why she didn't tell me who my father was or where he was or anything like that. I found out later, but at this point in time, I didn't know the reason why she kept me from him. So.
Understood. Okay. So far from what you were saying, one thing I can get from it is that you had some bumps and bruises early. You had, the emotional aspect, pain of realizing that you didn't share the same sibling, especially when you're a kid, right? We find out as adults, we got a little brother or, older brother. It's a little different. It's more like discovery, but it's pain when you go through it as a kid, right? So now let's slide into the high school Real Talk 80. Wait, that doesn't sound right. let's slide into the era. So pause. Yeah, New York, we say pause. So let's slide into the era of 14-year-old fresh high schooler. It's a new zone now. You in high school with the big boys and the big girls. Post-pubescent glory.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about that Real Talk 87.
Yeah, so
We watching you get your outfit ready for first day of school. Talk to me about that.
yeah, them high school years was wild. Of course, I was already interested in girls then. Matter of fact, I lost my virginity my freshman year of high school. So I mean, that was my freshman year was my favorite year of high school, clearly. And yeah, of course. So, but the thing that changed in the house at this time, like I said, me and my brother growing up, we was always fighting, arguing, bickering. Now we're in high school. We're both getting older. Well, I'm in high school. He's still in junior high. But me and him, we just stopped talking. Like we can go years. Like literally, we stayed years in the same house and did not speak to each other one bit. One bit. And I wouldn't even say it was because of hatred, because I didn't hate my brother. Like I loved him overall. I know he loved me too. It's just that we just stopped speaking to each other. We rode in different circles. He rode with, the athletes and all that. And even though I was an athlete, I rode with, the wrong crowd. You understand? So I was with all the street cats and all that. So we rode in different crowds, and I felt like he was being a little goody two shoes little boy. And he felt that I was just being somebody I really wasn't, or whatever, I guess. But we didn't speak to each other at all. Like the last 4 years before I moved out on my own.
Okay.
And your mom didn't say anything about y'all not speaking to each other?
She
didn't notice that y'all was not talking or speaking to each other?
I don't even know if she noticed it or not, to be honest with you, because she was always, at work. Like she worked like she really worked like a slave. She worked every day for like 12, 13 hours a day. So she was rarely even at home. Pretty much we had to raise ourselves the last few years because she worked a lot. You understand? So I don't think she even, and if she did notice, she didn't say nothing. So yeah.
And what about your stepdad? He didn't notice?
No, he wasn't there. No. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. Her and my stepdad got a divorce like right after that whole incident with him and me. They got a divorce over something unrelated. So he wasn't even living with us no more at that time. We basically moved away.
Okay.
So remember, I'm thinking cinematic. I could make this movie, this Real Talk 87 movie as long as I want. Mama had an issue with the crowd you were running with. Remember, because a lot of these things is what makes the man that did the thing that didn't do the thing. So I wanna kind of get the understanding, right? So you were rolling with a different crowd. When did that? So it almost seems as though that separation where you and Malcolm started to fracture around once you found out, and then you said it was almost as though y'all didn't have a reason to have to stick around because it was like, please, you don't even got the same daddy, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of your dabble and kicking it with the wrong crowd, that started kind of before high school. Was it the cats from the hood? Was it a hustling cousin?
Yeah, this started around, I want to say like maybe the 6th grade. So maybe like 3 years for high school. So yeah, it was this dude I met because we had moved. So it was a dude I met, and he was my age, but he was selling drugs and all that. So, and he taught me how to do all that because I didn't know nothing about drugs. You see what I'm saying? My mother and my stepfather pretty much kept us away from all of that. You see what I'm saying? And, I just met this dude. We was the same age, but he was out there selling drugs at that young of an age. And he showed me all about it and how to do it and all that. So that's what I started doing. So, yeah.
Okay. So you talking about, so when you started later or did you start early in your life?
No, so I met the dude I was talking about. I met him around the 6th grade, and I knew he was selling drugs. At first I wanted no parts of it, but then as I started hanging around with him more, I was like more open to it. So I asked him, how do you do this? How do you do it? I started asking questions, and he showed me everything. So around the 7th grade, I was in junior high, and then that's when I started doing it. So I was about seventh grade. I was about maybe 12, 13 years old. So yeah.
So you were, I mean, so you were getting. So by the time you hit high school, you were already you had a taste of getting to the money then.
Yeah.
Well, like sneaker money and stuff, but you was getting to it regardless. Do
Yeah.
you so you think it impacted your level when I say swag? Because once people don't understand that when people hustle, it requires a lot more discipline than some 9 to 5s because
Yeah.
you're not just looking to please your boss. You know, you're looking to please a boss who can handle you with street rules. You know, you not just looking out for this or that or federal regulations. You're looking for federal regulations. You're watching out for the cops. You're watching out for the ops. You're watching out for the fiends that's trying to trick you out your money. All of these different
Yep.
things. Don't ride in a whip with more than 4 people and you're dirty. All of these different things. It
Yep.
requires a lot of discipline. So you walked into high school with a certain degree of business about you, it seems.
Yep. Yep. That, and I was, I was a little hot, you know what I'm saying? Like I wanted the girls and all that. So I got money, and I know I got money. That's how I can track the girls. Especially I'm young. I got all this money, don't know what to do with it. So hey, let me get a few girls, all that. You know what I'm saying? That's how it was back then, and it worked. So yeah, I was, that young doing all that, and it's like, and I wasn't the only one doing. There was some other dudes in the school doing it too. I wasn't the only one, so it's not like I'm any different from anybody else. They was doing it too, and it worked for all of us. So that's what it was.
Did your mother know? Did your mother know that you were selling drugs?
No, she didn't know. I kept that away from her, so she never found out. I don't think she even knows to this day. I never told her. I don't want her to know, even though if I told her, she'll probably laugh about it or whatever. Now, because it was so long ago, and I'm pretty sure she knows I was doing some things I should have been doing as a kid, but she never told me about it. I never informed her I was doing this, that, and that. I never got caught. So I'm grown now, and hey,
So
I feel like what's done in the dark should be left in the dark. So yeah.
Right. So let me before we continue, and thank you for that. I just want to, we got a lot of folks that are showing a lot of love. You brought a lot of people out as well. Mama Goddess.
Mama
Yeah.
Goddess.
Yes. She's no joke. What's going on? Peace. Harris Tribe Media Group. They have like 12 names, but everyone means love. All right. Peace to y'all. Mama Goddess. Gabrielle, my brother, Canadian brother. All right. Sending us that $5 Powerball as well as the $2. I appreciate you, bro. Real talk. Thank you for coming through. Enjoy the story. It's worth it. It's worth it. And I want to make sure that we don't just ask cookie cutter stuff. I want to make sure that we kind of get to root. And we watching the Real Talk 87 movie right now. All right. So call me Chef Spielberg. Gabrielle. Yes. Hey, E Blizzy.
Shout out E Black. What's up, bro?
Look, E Black is my brother from a YouTube mother. And he was like, man, he's dope. He's dope, Chef. And we talk. So, the bro, he certified you. That was all it took.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to E Black, bro.
E Blizzy on deck. So, we're at high school. You know what I mean? You came through fresh, dapper. You had the gear. You had money in your pocket for a 14-year-old. You feel what I'm saying? You were able. It wasn't hard for you. You look clean. It wasn't hard for you to, be up with the ladies. So talk to me about the transitioning through high school time. Did you start hustling harder? Did you ever get to find love where it wasn't just the young girl smashes, where you started really feeling for a woman? Did you ever have one of those kind of situations?
I did have a high school sweetheart, and to be honest, I messed it up. All right. So
talk about that. Oh, you want to keep it in the dark? I know you said.
Will talk messed it up. Will messed it up.
yeah, I messed it up. I ain't gonna lie. Okay, so I did have a high school sweetheart.
It was still low talk back then.
Because I wouldn't say that I loved her at that point in time. We was just together. You see what I'm saying? So we was together, but I was still messing around on the side. You understand? And I messed around with this one chick. She was Indian. All right. I was messing around with her, and she claimed it was eventually a lie. I found out she claimed that I got her pregnant, and she went and told my mother that I got her pregnant. She told this lie to my mama that I got her pregnant, right? And so I'm like, my mama chastised me, of course, and whatever, you know, the different diseases out there and all that. I'm like, yeah, but you worried about diseases when I've got a whole baby on the way, right? It didn't make sense to me at that point in time. So basically, 4 or 5 months go by after she told my mama that she was pregnant, and I'm going to school every day looking at her, and she ain't getting no bigger. Her belly's not growing whatsoever. So I roll up to her, I'm like, are you eating? That's what I asked her the first time. Are you eating? You see what I'm saying? Because she ain't getting no bigger. And her friend is standing right next to her. Some chick was standing right next to her. It's her best friend or whatever. And she gives me this look. So I'm trying to read her look, but I can't figure out what she's trying to say. But she's trying to communicate with her eyes or whatever. So the girl who I thought I got pregnant just walks off like, forget you, whatever. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. So after school, that same girl, her best friend comes to me and was like, you know she's not pregnant, right? And I look at her like, what are you talking about? She just told my mama a few months ago that she was pregnant. She said, no, she was never pregnant. She only said that because she wanted to be with you and you rejected her because you was with so-and-so, the girl I'm with now. So I'm like, she did all of that. Like, why she, like, I didn't, it was some high school kid shit. You see what I'm saying? And that got me in trouble with the girl I was already with because she found out. So,
yeah, but you had some blessings though. You had some blessings though, family. You got to always count those blessings. Yeah. She was still at that young, ripe age where girls were doing stuff just for feelings. Imagine if she was a get to the bag chick and was trying to get, Roe v. Wade money out of you, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Right? So you get it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was just right. Right. It's sinking in now. Right.
Understood. Yeah.
The older ones they were trying to get to that bag, a few $100 here, a few $100 there, But,
right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you take any cautionary tales from dodging that particular bullet?
At that point, I'm not gonna lie, no, I didn't. I didn't. Well, actually, I kind of did because I was more like, okay, I need to use protection from now on with everybody. Even the person I'm with, I'm using protection. So I was real big on protection at that point in time after that incident because I know with her, I didn't use protection. Okay. But I dodged the bullet anyway because she wasn't pregnant and she just lied about it. So, well, yeah, I started realizing the benefits of protection, basically.
All right. So I want to kind of move into the foreboding part of the movie. Normally what they give you in the beginning of the movie or the series, first, even if it's a TV series, the first couple episodes are a little slow because they're giving you character development, right?
Yeah.
So at this point, we've reached the character development where we see where he started, what would have drove him, all right? So now let's start talking about the foreboding. The foreboding is in the movie where you start seeing a sinister character coming around. You're seeing things start to get a certain way. I want you to tell me about, at this point, you got that little teenage high school bag, you got the girls, you already had the pregnancy scare. Tell me about now where you start walking down that dark alley of life. Where did the sinister, or where did the bullshit start to show itself?
All right, so basically it started matter of fact, my senior year in high school. This dude, he moved to the city. So the dude I found out was the guy that was selling the drugs, that taught me how to sell drugs and all that. That was his cousin. So he moved to the city, and we developed a real close relationship, a real close friendship. And we started kicking it every day. And the other dude, okay, I'm gonna name the dude. The other dude that was telling me how to sell drugs and all that, Ricky. That's his name, Ricky. His cousins was telling me, yo, watch out. Don't be too close to dude, which is also their cousins or whatever. Because
so they wanted you about their family.
They wanted me about him, but I'm like, I'm gonna give him a chance. I'm never, even when I was a kid, I was never the type of person to judge somebody based on what other people say about them. I've never been that type of person. You understand? I've always been like, well, let me find out myself how this person is, and then I'll judge them accordingly. You see what I'm saying? I've always just been that type, and I had to find out the hard way. I had to hit my head. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we kicked it around a lot, but I found out that he don't sell drugs, but he does drugs. He packs pistols, he banging and all that. He's that type of dude. You see what I'm saying? So I met him and, we started hanging out. And after that, I found out his ways, but I was still cool with him. And I was wondering, like, why does this guy's family not be around him? I started asking that question. You see what I'm saying? Like, why do people cut him off like that? You see what I'm saying? And he made it seem like it's everybody else's fault why they ain't fucking with him. You see what I'm saying? And I accepted it. You see what I'm saying? Because he was cool with me. Like, we was tight. I didn't see nothing really wrong with him except he can't really just take care of himself. He can't really take care of himself. That he ain't got no job. He just, whatever money he does get, he uses it on drugs. And he packs some pistols. That's it. Like, he don't really do nothing else with himself. So, but I still hung around him, And whenever I got money, we went to the mall and I spent a lot of our money on him to give him some clothes and get him some shoes and whatever the hell he needed, because he couldn't do it for himself because he was so wasted on drugs all the time. So
now I'm gonna get deeper in some questions.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever saw Snowfall?
What's that?
You ever watched Snowfall?
Snowfall? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a TV series.
Oh, the show? No.
Okay. There's a character on the show called Leon, right? And he is the best friend. He's the best friend to the star of the show. And as they started getting money, he was the homeboy that went hustler. And, his boy would look out for him too at some point in terms of his hustle. His girl, his on and off again girlfriend, she got hooked on that rock.
Yeah.
And it changed the game. It changed the game where he started seeing what he was doing in a different way. He started seeing the impacts. He started seeing the change that it took on her. Mm-hmm. Did you ever find yourself in any of those weird quandaries where you started looking at what you might have been doing at the time and being like, damn, and then looking at what you're doing and then looking at the impacts of what you're doing? You ever had those conversations with yourself?
I did. I'm not gonna lie. And the thing is, after high school, me and dude still kicking it, whatever. But I'm starting to think, okay, I want to do something else. Like, I want to do something legal. You see what I'm saying? Like, I need to do something, that will pay me the right way. So I eventually decided to go into the military. I went to the Army. A lot of people don't know that. I never told that story on V's channel, but I did go to the Army.
Exclusive.
What?
Exclusive. Yes. You didn't know that, Andrea, but yes, that is true.
No.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
So I didn't mention that because that wasn't really just that was pretty much not an important part of the story that I went to the Army. It wasn't really that important. But yeah, I did go to the Army, and while I was in the Army, I was still coming back home, hanging out with him. So after I got into the Army,
I might use that Army footage in the movie. I'm just saying.
Okay. So yeah, after I got into the Army, I decided, okay, I need to stop selling drugs. And if I fall on hard times, I might just go fall back on that. But I now know how to, make money. If I do fall on hard times, I know how to do it. But now that I'm in the Army, I don't need to do it. You see what I'm saying? So I stopped doing it. But I was still hanging around, the wrong crowd pretty much.
How long were you in the Army?
Altogether, I was in there. Well, before the incident, I was in there for 3 years. But
Army for 3
altogether,
years?
like 5.5. Yeah.
What?
Wow.
The whole incident happened while I was in the Army. I was living in Killeen, Texas at the time, Fort Hood.
Is that?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You were stationed at Fort Hood.
Yep.
Man. So during that time, did you ever have an international deployment, or you were always stateside?
No, I was in Iraq from 2008 to 2009. So yeah, I was in Southwest Baghdad. And really, like, people got these dramatic ass overseas stories. Mine wasn't that dramatic. Like, I did go overseas, but I didn't see a whole lot of killing over there. I did see somebody in my company get killed, though. I did see that. But other than that, like, I didn't really, it wasn't nothing too dramatic. It was just a regular, I'm here in this hot ass desert. That's about it for 12 months. So.
Got it. Okay. So that would be a short part of the movie. You think anything happened over there that might have changed your life?
No, I can't really say that.
I need the craziest, because I know everybody that I know that was in the military got at least one crazy ass story that took place somewhere on this planet. Yeah,
the only crazy story I got from Iraq is our first night getting there. We get off the chopper and we go to they call it barracks or whatever. As soon as we get in the barracks, we hear a loud whistle. We looking like, what the hell is that? And then all of a sudden a rocket hits the building. So we all fall like, what the hell just happened? And then like 2 more rockets hit. That was pretty much it. Like that was something crazy that I'd never seen before. And after that moment, it didn't happen again. So I'm like, how did they know we just arrived here for them to hit our building like that? You see what I'm saying? So it was wild.
All right. So
that secret.
Go ahead, Andre. I'm sorry.
You kept that secret because I never. Now I can understand why you're so rigid in things, because you was in the Army, and I
yeah.
So that explains a lot that we didn't know about
you.
you.
Yeah, the Army pretty much taught me standards and to stick to your shit. Pretty much, that's what it taught me. So that's where I got a lot of my hard-headedness from. So if you would say,
So, okay. So now we're starting to get into the meat of the story, right? Because you stated that you had gotten arrested or you got locked up near the end of your deployment. Was that
after my deployment? It was when I came back from deployment. Yeah.
So talk to me about that dude that was literally coming back home after deployment. What was in your head before we talk about what you did or what have you? Where was your mindset at? Who were you? Were you coming back looking forward to, all right, I'm gonna find me a wife, I'm gonna get a job, I'm gonna do this and that? Were you, looking at the GI Bill? Like, who was that person? Because now we got a new actor now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Playing you. So tell me about the real Talk87, fresh out the military.
All right. So I'm not gonna lie to you. A lot of people are like, a lot of people who ain't been in the Army or the military, they look at soldiers like these are our heroes and all that. I didn't see myself as a hero. I just see myself as I need a job. That's how I looked at myself. So when I come back, I'm already tired of the Army. Like, I want to just do my little 4 years that I signed up for and get out. So after I come back from deployment, I'm like, this is like probably my third year, almost third year in the Army at this time. So I got 1 year left. Let me do this 1 year and just get out. That's how I was thinking. So I was not thinking about starting a family. Like, I was not thinking about a family or none of that. Like, I was just thinking, okay, this GI Bill coming. you know, maybe I can go to college and better particular moment.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Don't stop talking for a minute. Just give me that last, let's say 15 seconds back, because it looks like the Wi-Fi froze up on you a little bit, and like you was doing mannequin challenge for it. So I want to make sure they
My
catch
bad.
Nah, you good.
Okay, so what was the last part you heard?
Well, you said that you weren't thinking about starting a family. You were thinking
Oh
about
yeah,
the GI Bill.
yeah. I was thinking about the GI Bill and going off to college, trying to further my education and getting a better job that way, and probably starting a career that way. I was not thinking about family whatsoever at that particular moment. Just getting out of the Army. I wanted to get out the Army first and foremost because I was tired of it.
Okay. So at that point, you know, I don't care what anybody says about being intentional, this, that, and the other. A lot of times, the women that we love or that are there in the wings that we can lean on, you know, hug, lay on, whatever. A lot of times in different phases of our life, there may be a special one. You get what I'm saying? At least one. During that time frame, did you have one?
At that point in time,
Or
no,
reliable?
but I did have one, but I mean, like I said, we weren't really that serious. We were together for over a year at this point, but I mean, as far as like taking it to marriage and all that, we weren't talking about that. But I did have somebody at that particular moment, and there was soon going to be somebody else who came into my life that I do definitely appreciate, but she comes a little bit later in the story. So yeah.
Okay. See, he's sticking with the timeline, my man.
Yeah.
All right. So you got home now. Talk to me. Talk to me.
All right.
How things start happening when you touch down.
All right, so I touched down, and anybody who's been in the military, you come back from overseas, you get, I think, 30 days of leave or whatever, paid leave. So 30 days, I really ain't got nothing to do. So I'm like, okay, might as well go back to the hometown and kick it with the people I've been kicking it with these last few years. So that's what I did, and ain't nothing changed. Dude's still doing the same thing. So me and him, we kicking it more. He's always fighting, and I'm just there like this is what I'm starting to notice. I need to stop hanging around dude. I'm starting to see what his family's saying now. Like, I'm the only dude that you fucking with. You see what I'm saying? I'm the only dude fucking with you. And like, your own family done alienated you, and nobody's really talking to you like that. But he do at this point got a woman that he's staying with. He's staying with some chick. So I'm just kicking it with him and her, and we just doing our little thing, whatever, hanging out, and he tried to get me on some drugs, and I'm like, nah, because his drug of choice was PCP. You know what that is, right?
Mute.
Sherm, that butt naked.
Yeah, that's what that is. That's his drug of choice. Yeah. So he tried to get me on that. He tried one day. He was like, let me get a cigarette, bro. So I gave him a little cigarette, whatever, and he dipped it in this fucking embalming fluid shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is you doing?
Let me interrupt you real quick. For the squares that's out there, for the folks that are not familiar with illicit chemicals, PCP, aka button, they call it wet, all right, because of liquid form, and they would drop it, dab it, or dip cigarettes into it. Some people call it angel dust, all right. Some people call it sherm, and most people call it butt naked because at some point it would make your skin feel so hot that it would make people tear their clothes off and run around. And that particular drug is one of the drugs that allowed police to behave in a more physical manner to deal with you because of the amount of inhuman strength that you would be able to, and it turns off your pain receptors. You know what I'm saying? Which means that you end up being stronger than you ever were. So that, and for the movie buffs, that was the stuff that had Debo sleeping in the chicken coop. Wait, who was it? It was not Craig. It was Smokey. Smokey. Smokey spent the whole night in Debo's pigeon coop because he touch that. So yeah, that we just had to give lessons here too. Family, go ahead, man.
Yeah. Yeah, but he was, he dipped it in, he dipped the cigarette in it, and he lit it, and he tried to offer me something like, no, I'm good, bro. Like, I still let him do what he did, but there was one point in time where I was tired of him, being on it, because when he's on it, he's either emotional or he's very aggressive or both. You see what I'm saying? So one day we rode to his cousin's house, and I tell his cousin, I'm like, look, your cousin, man, he ain't doing too well, bro. You got to tell him to kick these damn drugs he be on or whatever. And so his cousin, he sent him to the side and talked to him. So we leave his house, and then he get mad that I done told his cousin that he doing drugs and all this. He get mad. And at this point in time, I done bought me a pistol. You see what I'm saying? I got a pistol now. So, but I leave it in my car. And he gets mad at me, and he was like, why you telling my cousin my business and all this? I don't like them niggas in my business, all that, whatever. And then I tell him, bro, I'm trying to look out for you. Like, you need to better your life, bro. Like, you seen what I did when I was in high school. I changed my life around already. Like, I'm trying to do something better. You see what I'm saying? You need to do the same thing. Get on what I'm on. I don't care, but like, you need to kick these drugs because you ain't doing nothing with yourself. This is why nobody is fucking with you right now. So
right.
I guess it hit him. It hit him the wrong way how I said it. So he pulled a gun out on me, like, don't ever say that about me again. Da, 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 da. Then he started crying and whatever. At this point, he pointed a gun at me. So I'm a little scared. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't show it at that particular time, but I'm a little, damn, like, this nigga really finna shoot me because I'm trying to help his ass out. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just looking at him like with the gun, like, the barrel pointed at me, and I'm just like, bruh, if you ain't gonna shoot, put that gun down. And don't pull out your gun again on me unless you plan on killing me, because next time you pull that out on me, I swear I'm gonna take your life. I told him that straight up. He put it down, and after that, I said, okay, I need to stay away from this dude. Like, I need to just get him out of my life for good. And that's what my mind was on. But of course, that's not how it happened. So.
All right. Thank you. So you fresh out the military, you started to recognize different things you had been through some experiences out there. And then you got back home and you realized there were certain things that didn't change, So now we're starting to get close to, one of the pivotal events that changed your life. So, when you get in trouble or you have a real problem, one of the things that you do when you're sitting down, you're like, damn it, you start replaying the tape back in your head and you think about every little step you could have made. Damn, if I made a left on 3rd Street instead of making a right on 3rd Street, I never would have I bumped into Johnny and then this wouldn't have happened. I want you to think that thought when you kind of share the story and how you started the slide of destiny, when you get on that slide of destiny from where you recognize it. Share that with us.
All right, so the date, and matter of fact, just to let you know, today is July 18th. This happened July 18th of 2009. So exactly 13 years ago today is when it happened.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's crazy. I thought about that like a few hours ago. Like, this is the exact day it happened. But yeah.
I'm about to switch my light up. You may not see me for a second, but I'm listening.
All right. So that morning, I decide, okay, I need to go, because this is the same day that I'm planning on just going back to Killeen, taking my butt back to Killeen and finish my time in the Army and never coming back to this little ass city. So I'm at this time, it's been my leave is almost up. It's been almost 30 days already. So I'm trying to leave a little bit early just so I can get my stuff together so I can do what I do. So that morning I planned on leaving. So I started packing my stuff up. And side note, because I didn't mention this earlier, him and his girlfriend, the girl he's staying with, he's been beating her ass for like, I don't know how long he been beating her ass or whatever. So just a side note. So I'm about to leave, but he stops me and he was like, bro, you finna leave? I'm like, yeah, I gotta go back to Colleen, bro. So he was like, bro, let me go to Jack in the Box real quick. I gotta give me something to eat because his mama worked at Jack in the Box. So I'm like, all right, go ahead. It shouldn't be no longer than 30 minutes because Jack in the Box right around the corner or whatever. So I'm like, go ahead. I ain't tripping. So he take my car, go to Jack in the Box. So while I'm waiting downstairs, his girl come downstairs and she got a black eye. Like her eye is black as hell. And I just look at her, like I give her a little look like that, and I go to watching TV, waiting for dude to come back. So she sit next to me, and I'm just looking at her like, what's up? And then she was like, you about to leave? I'm like, yeah. Why? And she said, well, I don't want to be here alone with him. Talking about the boy, talking about a dude. And I'm like, okay, so tell him to leave. Like, what you want me to do about it? So he's like, I can't just tell him that. If I tell him that, he's gonna beat my ass again. I'm like, well, you in a relationship with this dude, like, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, if he don't want to leave, call the police, do whatever, but I don't know what you expect me to do about that. I'm finna go, and no, you can't come with me. I'm not staying here. Like, not gonna happen. I don't want this dude getting any crazy ideas or whatever. So we stopped talking for a little bit. An hour go by. I'm like, where the hell is this dude at? He was just supposed to be going to Jack in the Box to get something to eat. So he called me. And I'm like, what's up, bro? Where you at? He said, I'll be there in a minute. I'm like, okay, but you've been gone an hour. Where are you at? He said, I'm on the south side. So that means one thing. He on the south side. That means he getting drugs again. Like he back on drugs again. I'm like, bro, okay, whatever. Just come back so I can go. Like at this point, I don't care that this nigga still on drugs. Like I don't really give a shit. Like I'm done with this dude. So he finally come back, and I got my pistol on my waist, you know, ready to go. And I got my bags packed, ready to go, all that. So he come back, you know, he opened the door, he threw my keys, whatever. Before I leave, this is the pivotal point that I was thinking to myself, okay, maybe I should just go and don't worry about how this dude feeling right now, like whatever. So, but before I go, she was like, let me use your phone real quick. His girlfriend was like, let me use your phone real quick. So I let her use my phone because she ain't have a phone. So she go outside and call, I think her friend, her girlfriend or whatever. And while I'm waiting, I should have just took my ass out in the car and waited for her to get off the phone and get my phone so I can go. But my ass, I go back inside. I put my clothes in the car and I go inside and I'll be like, bro, yeah, all right. And this dude here is crying. You see what I'm saying? Like he's just emotional. And I'm just looking at him like, what the fuck is you crying for? I didn't tell him that, but that's what I was thinking in my head. Like, why the hell are you crying?
Was he
fuck
tweaking
you
at
be
the
crying
time?
for right now? Huh? Yeah, he was on drugs. That's why he went to the south side. Yeah. So I'm looking like, so I say, bro, you all right? And then he was like, bro, just go on, get out of here, man. When he told me that, I should have left. I should have said, okay, cool. I should have just left. But I didn't do that. Me being the good friend that I was like, bro, you all right? And he was like, man, look, nobody care about me. My grandmama dead. My own family ain't fucking with me. You fucking my bitch. And I'm like, hold on. Whoa, hold on. What you mean I'm fucking your, I ain't touching your bitch. I already told you. I think your girl ugly as hell. Like, no. And even if she was cute, I'm not no slime ball dude. You see, I'm not gonna fuck somebody woman if we tight. Like, if I notice she got a man, I'm not gonna mess with her. Like, no. But now I'm not fucking your woman. What you talking about? He's like, yes, you are, nigga. You like, kill her. He said, I'm gonna kill her and you get in the way, I'm gonna kill you too. And I'm like, bruh. So I put my hand on his chest and I said, bruh, nah, chill. And I put my hand on his chest, whatever. He pushes my hand off of him and then he shoves me hard into the door. Now, mind you, this dude right here, he's about 6'4", about 240 pounds. All right. My little ass at that point in time was only like 5'11" and I weighed probably $180. All right, so yeah, this dude powerful. Plus he on that shit, so his shove was like super strong.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So yeah, so I'm like, damn, bro, like chill out. And then he was like, man, fuck you. And so I see him start to reach in his waist for the gun. And remember what I told you earlier when he pulled a gun on me earlier. I said, you pulled a gun on me, I'm going to kill you. So I'm like, I got that in my head now. This nigga going for his gun. So I pull mine out, and I've been in the Army, so I'm quick with my trigger, like real quick. I pull it out, and I hit him in his side. Didn't try to kill him, just let him know, bro, don't fuck with me. All right, so I pull it out, and I shoot him. I hit him in his right below his rib cage or whatever. So he falls. He falls on the couch, and he's just laying there. Like, he was still breathing. He was breathing. He was just laying there with his eyes wide open. So I look at him, I'm like,
I gotta pause you for a second.
Go ahead.
Because there's a lot of power, there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of little thoughts, and what was when it happened, at the moment it happened. You know, I'm trained in weapons. I build and modify weapons. You know, I'm range trained and stuff. That feeling, that I want you to talk about it, because even trained police officers, once they have to discharge their weapon, even if they hit somebody or not, they send them through a certain degree of counseling. So I want you to tell at that moment, once we heard the pop, because it doesn't sound like it sounds in the movies, y'all. You know,
no,
especially
don't.
in the environment. It sounds a little low, and it almost feels like a punch from the concussive force. You know, so my question to you is, it happened so quickly. Tell me about what flashed through your mind, if you can remember what flashed through your mind at that moment that you had to make that decisive move and after it.
All right, so at that particular moment, I aim at him, I shoot. I see his hands immediately fly in the air. I'm thinking that, because I had fired a gun before, but this particular pistol that I had, I didn't think I even hit him. But I ended up saying that I did, so I'm like, damn, I really shot dude. But at this particular moment, I'm thinking, it's a flesh wound. Like, he'll be all right. You see what I'm saying? Because I hit him. It could kill you. It probably wouldn't kill you, though. It could, though. Because I hit him right below his rib cage. Huh?
In and out?
Yeah, in and out. You see what I'm saying? I'm thinking it ain't gonna kill, dude. So it's a flesh wound. That's what's going through my head right now. But at the same time, I'm thinking, damn, I really shot this dude. And I didn't want to do it, but I felt like I had to. Otherwise, this dude, ain't no telling what this dude would have done to me. You see what I'm saying? Because he's already thinking I'm messing with his girl for some weird reason, whatever. So that's going through my head right then, is I really shot this dude. I came here, I just shot this dude. You see what I'm saying?
So you can keep flowing. I just wanted to catch where your mindset was at, because this is about you. So we're not just watching we're not just watching the mouse in the cage. You know, you actually we trying to get to what was in here and what was in here, you know, heart and mind during that story. Because remember, you're the star of this biopic we doing right now, right? So now it happened. Where was your head at now after it happened? Was it see, nigga, I told you, or was it, what the fuck did I do? You know, or was it, what the fuck you made me do? Like, where was your head at after that, once you started to come down from the shock of that moment?
Yeah, my mind right now is I wasn't mad. I wasn't even mad. I was more like, let me help this dude now that I hit him. Let me help him. Because I'm still thinking at this point it's not serious. Like, it's a little flesh wound. That's what I'm thinking. So let me go ahead and call the paramedics and get him to the hospital so they can fix him up, whatever. So I run outside, and his girlfriend is just sitting there on the phone, like this on the phone, and she's just froze. She's not even talking to whoever she was talking to on the phone. She's just sitting there froze because she heard the gunshot. Right. So I still got the gun in my hand, whatever. So I walk up to her and say, "Give me the phone." So I grab the phone and I hang up on whoever she was talking to, and I call 911. And they asked me, like, what do you need? The police, paramedics, the fire department, whatever. Said, send the fire department, not the fire department, send the paramedics and the police. I said, send them both. Fuck it. So she was like, what's going on? I said, I just shot this dude and y'all need to come get him, like, real quick. So she was asking me a bunch of questions, and I was getting irritated with her questioning. Like, it don't matter, just bring them and hurry the hell up. You see what I'm saying? And then I hung up, and then like about 4 or 5 minutes later, I finally hear the sirens and they coming. So at this point in time, the girlfriend I had already ran back into the house to check on them, and I step like while they're coming, I start to step back into the house, but I didn't step all the way in. I'm just sitting there making sure he all right. But I hear his breathing a little shallow now. You see what I'm saying? And she's I don't know what she's doing. Like she's wiping his forehead with cold rag or whatever she's doing. So the cops come first, and then he was like, what happened? And I said, look, I got the gun, it's in my waist. I point at my waist and I got my hands up like it's right here. I didn't want to hold it because then they'll probably shoot me. So I like it's in my waist. So they inch towards me and then the first thing they do is they grab the pistol and then they handcuff me. And then they put me in the back of the car. And then once they apprehend me, they still got me sitting there. Finally, the ambulance shows up and they go into the house and they get him. And then I see them come out with him on a stretcher. So I'm still thinking at this point, he's going to be okay. That's what I'm still thinking. Like, it's going to be all right. The shock ain't just kicked in yet. I'm just thinking he's going to be all right. So they eventually take me to the police station and ask me questions. And they was like, you had the right to make, they gave me my random rights and all that. They gave me all that already. So they was like, do you want a lawyer right now before you start to speak? I'm like, I don't need no lawyer. Like, I know what I did. Right. So they asked me what happened. I ran down everything that happened. So at this point in the questioning, I'm still thinking like, all right, if I'm going to have to sit in jail for a few days, whatever, that's fine. Like, I can do that. But I'm still thinking he's going to make it. Like, flesh wound, get you some stitches, whatever. You're going to be okay. I'm still thinking that.
How were the police treating you during that time? In terms
really
of, were they treating you like some sort of a suspect? Were they treating you like a perp, or were they just treating you like a voluntary witness to somebody that was in the situation? You know, was it threats? Were they, getting tough with you? They try to rough you up? How was the vibe, their approach to you during this time?
Okay, well, at that time, like really, the cop that arrested me, he made me feel comfortable, to be honest. Like he didn't come in no kind of way. He just asked me what happened. You see what I'm saying? Because that same officer, he said he's had run-ins with dude before, the dude that I shot. He's had run-ins with him, so he kind of already suspected what may or may not have happened. So he wasn't aggressive with me whatsoever. He was just like, you want a drink, whatever. And I guess that's a tactic that cops do to make somebody feel comfortable so they can talk. That's what cops do sometimes. Right. And it worked on me because I started talking. Yeah.
They didn't give you a Pepsi and a sandwich, right? They ain't 48 you, right?
Yeah, except I wanted a Gatorade. I told him to give me a Gatorade. So he gave me a Gatorade. Yeah.
Did they have to call your Army sergeant to let him know?
Huh?
Because you were still in the military. You was on leave. So they had to call your sergeant to let him know?
Because they didn't know I was in the Army, and I didn't tell them I was in the Army. Like, that really wasn't on my mind at that point in time. I didn't tell them nothing. Okay. So, yeah. So as the questioning goes on, I'm telling them, and it was like, okay, so we're gonna have to send you to the county jail for now. I'm like, all right, whatever. So they end up taking me to the county jail. And I'm still thinking I'll be here probably over the weekend, whatever. So when they get my fingerprints and take my pictures, my mugshot and all that, the sheriff, the person at I don't know if that was the sheriff or not, but the person at the desk, they got a phone call. So I'm sitting there just waiting. And he got the phone, and then he told me he didn't make it. So now I'm speechless. Like, my heart just fell at that point. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah.
All right. So at this point, they got off the phone. You thought it was one thing. And then now is, I don't want to go past that point. This is your movie right now, and they got to understand what makes you a man. So at this point, not only did you find out that something that was you defending yourself has turned into something way bigger than that. And then to also learn at the same time that you took the life of one of your closest loved ones, one of your closest friends. Our friends are the family that we grow into and choose, and sometimes those relationships and bonds are stronger than the ones we have with the people that have our blood, because they do whatever they want because they know they can always come back because we share the same blood. But the friends is a different thing. Tell me about those moments. Tell me about your mind. Tell me about your heart. Tell me about your breathing. You know what I'm saying? Where were you at in that moment? This was big.
Yeah, it was big because we were close. Like, I could almost call him my brother before that whole incident. Like, I treated him like a real brother. Like, because I'm like the type of person, like, if I can call you a friend, like that's just what we are. Like, I gave dude literally the shirts off my back when I didn't have the money to give him whatever. Like, I gave him my clothes because even though he was a little tight in them, like, he still needed some clothes. You see what I'm saying? Because he was a big dude. You see what I'm saying? So I gave him literally the clothes off my back. You understand? Like, and I felt like, how could his own family just disregard him, alienate this dude? Like, I really don't see a big problem with him besides the fact that he a druggie, like he does drugs. That's the only thing I really see wrong with the dude. Like, why are people just shying away from him like that? Like, I was the only person literally in his life besides his girlfriend at that time that stuck by him side by side. So when I found out that he didn't make it, like, my heart sank. Like, I didn't know what to say or what to do, but I ain't gonna lie, I did cry. Like, I really cried when I heard that he died.
That was gonna be my next question. So it hurt you to your heart.
Yeah.
And then just to know that not only did you lose your friend, regardless if it was self-defense, the fact that you were the person that did it, I know that had to take a lot out of you. It almost feels as though there's a part you didn't mention in terms of you blaming yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and I definitely, like, and I still to this day blame myself for that whole shit. Because even though, yeah, I felt like I was offending myself, I still feel like if I could rewind time, there's some things I would do different. Like, I should have just left and let him wallow in his little misery that he was in. Like, I feel like I shouldn't even just sometimes, and this is wrong for me to think, but sometimes I just wish maybe if he pulled out his pistol and did whatever, I just should have let him do that. You see what I'm saying? Because, like, I just don't think it was worth me taking his life. I don't think it was.
But when you look at it in retrospect, and this is one question, and you kind of got to the thing that started this kind of line of questioning when I talked about whenever you get into something, you always think about if I did this or if I didn't do that, right? Mm-hmm. So when you look at it now, when you're far removed from it, right? Do you think now, when you look at it, do you think that he would have pulled that trigger? Because there's something that one of our brothers just put up here, and this thing called survivor's guilt. It's on the screen. It's a real thing, Why wasn't it me? So
yeah.
What do you think? Do you think that now when you look at it and you're in a different headspace, you think that he would have pulled the trigger, or you can't tell because he was tweaking on that stuff?
Well, like I said, he was tweaking. Like the incident before that, a few weeks before that, when he pulled a gun on me, he didn't shoot then. You see what I'm saying? So now looking back on it, I feel like maybe he wouldn't have, but I didn't want to take chances at that time because I warned him after that first incident. I said, next time you pull it, you better shoot. I let him know that. So I didn't know at that moment then if he really was or not. And thinking back on it now, I'm pretty sure he probably wouldn't have. He was probably trying to scare me or whatever, like he did the first time. But at that particular moment, like people who never had a gun pulled on them, they couldn't tell you what they would have done, because what you say what you would have done then and what you actually do in that moment is two different things. You see what I'm saying? So back when I was in that moment, I felt he's got a gun and I warned him before, so I know he's gonna do it this time. So that's why I did it. So, but now looking back on it, I'm more like maybe he wouldn't have. You see what I'm saying? I just didn't want to find out if he would or not. So
you ever have one of those situations where you have something really traumatic, messed up happen to you at night, and then you fall asleep or you go to sleep and you might have some dreams, and then you wake up, and when you wake up before you open your eyes, and you be like, oh shit, whew, it was all a dream. And then you open your eyes and you realize, oh shit, this is real. You know what I'm talking about.
Exactly. I had that, matter of fact, that night, actually not that night, 2 nights later, because I didn't even sleep that night. But 2 nights later, when I went to sleep, I'm thinking the whole thing a dream. I'm gonna wake up from this and I'll be, back in Killeen doing what I'm doing, whatever. That's what I'm thinking. But I wake up and I'm in a 8x6 cell, and I'm like, this is real. So yeah, I've had that moment.
So at that time, did you have to it had to contact your sergeant then? Because
now I have already told the sheriffs and all that I am I'm in the military. I haven't talked to nobody in the military at this point, but I know that they know because they were already informed of what happened. So yeah.
So now you have anything you want to ask additionally before we transition to the next scenes in the film, Andrea?
No, I don't.
All right. So at this point, now you already know, one thing hearing them tell you, that he lost his life. The other thing is you feeling that you were responsible for it, not only thinking about the judgment of the law, but thinking about the judgment of your friends, family, loved ones, his mama you might have hugged. Thinking about all of that stuff. Now you're facing legal repercussions, right? So family support you with a lawyer, family come and see you, anybody tell you, F you disappointed us, like, how does that time? Because now this is going to be one of the biggest fights of your life with with the legal justice system. We didn't get the penal system yet. The legal justice system. How did that look? Because that's bigger than fighting Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
So
let me start here. Before he passed away, while he was still in the hospital, I was originally charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. That was the original charge. After he died, they upgraded it to first-degree murder. So that's where I was at, and the bail was set. First degree. Yeah, that's
first
what they charged me with.
requires premeditation.
Yes.
Premeditation. Yep.
It requires premeditation, meaning that, and it's not heat of passion murder, like second degree. It requires premeditation. So what they're stating is that it was your intent to take his life, and and there was a degree of forethought that came from it.
Yep. And be mindful, this is also in the state of Texas, where Texas don't have second and third degree murder. They just got murder, it's first degree. Right. That's true. So
you're right.
Keep in mind this though. But keep in mind this: what your definition of first degree murder? That's what they were going off of. So keep in mind of that before the trial and all that. Okay, so they set my bail, and I did get bonded out, and I got a lawyer. All right. So my thought now, I'm still thinking about dude. Like, I can't help but think about him. You see what I'm saying? But also I'm thinking about, damn, what is his family gonna say? All that. because his family and me, we were all close. We all grew up together. You understand? I'm worried about what they gonna think now and all that. So pretty much, I get on because MySpace is still kind of popping at the time. I was on MySpace, and I'm looking at the posts people were making and all that. You know, they were saying RIP and all that to them or whatever. I'm like, okay, so I'm kind of worried about what they're gonna think. So I'm not really gonna write to them right now, but some of them did reach out. The dude that taught me how to sell drugs and all that, he understood why I did what I did. All right, so he really didn't treat me no different because that was his cousin or whatever, but he didn't treat me no different. Him and a couple of other of his cousins, they didn't treat me no different, but there was a few that was like, man, nigga, fuck you. When I catch you, you know what it is. That's how they were like. You understand? And also during this time, there was another cousin, and me and her were cool, but our relationship, mine and her relationship, kind of changed after that. And it changed actually for the better because she was actually there and like supported me and was like, hey, trust me, I know, da 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 da. I see why you did what you did. I know, dude, he was an asshole and he was a druggie and he was, you know, he's very violent. So I get it. And so I was kind of in like an emotional state at that point. So I kind of took it, you know, as in, damn, she's really, you know, still fucking with me after all this. And after that, we actually got into a relationship. So, and had a baby.
Huh?
Yeah, and had a baby. Yeah.
You had what?
We had a baby.
You said baby.
Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, my oldest daughter. Yeah.
Okay. You're on mute, Chef.
Oh yeah, man. I got a little 6-year-old that likes to mess with me when I'm doing the show and little noises and stuff. So if you're watching my show, people got to remind me I'm on mute because I don't really
okay.
forget to cut it back on. That's my trademark.
Yeah.
But so now we moving further now. You thinking about the anxiety that you have if you've lost the love of your family, lost the love of your friends, you know, and your freedom is being, at this point, your freedom's being challenged. You understand that the actions you took a life, but you didn't consider yourself as a guilty person because you were defending yourself.
Yeah.
So so when you in that dark place, the only thing that you could really think about that resonates is the tiny pieces of hope. But the rest of it is darkness. The rest of it is darkness. That's the way that I believe. You know, when people think you're a certain way or you did a certain thing, but you understand the truth, hope is the light. The darkness is a different kind of light. It's like a red and orange flame. And you know that you're going to be pushed closer to that flame. So at this point now, family get you a lawyer. Was it legal defense? You get a pro bono attorney?
Oh no, I had a paid attorney at this point. Yeah.
So family put up, or did you cover yourself?
I put up half because I had a lot of money at that point. So I put up half and my mother put up the other half. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
How did you tell your mother?
Actually, I didn't tell her. And this is how, when you live in a small town, this is how quick word travels. All right. Because the incident happened. Like, I go to the police station to get asked questions, and no later than 5 minutes of me being there, my phone is blowing off the hook. I see my mother calling me. I see Ricky, the dude that taught me how to sell drugs, he calling me. Some other people calling me. So I know word already got to them what happened. That quick. So she already knew what happened, but she explained, she asked me in my own words, how did this happen? And I told her. And this was when I got my free call when I got to the sheriff's department, the county jail. I told her then like what happened, and she was shocked. Like she couldn't believe that she didn't know I had a pistol. So Yeah, she was very surprised. She didn't think her son could do this, but she was supportive though overall.
She was. Was she disappointed in you?
I wouldn't even say what she's. It was a form of disappointment because she told me. Because matter of fact, the day before that whole thing happened, I called her because I'm still on leave at this point. I told her, "Look, Ma, I really want to go to your house for the last few days that I'm here." I told her that. She said, "Well, come on." And I said, "I'll wait another day." I should have left in when she told me that. I should have just left in, but I said, "I'll just wait another day." So that next day, that happened, and then I got my free call. I called her, and she said, "Why you just didn't come home? Like I told you, come home. Why you just didn't come home?" And she was crying. Like that made me cry some more. She was like, "Why you just didn't come home when I told you come home?" I said, "I'm sorry." That's all I could say was, "I'm sorry." So yeah.
The crying because she felt disappointed. That's why when you heard her cry.
Yeah, because I guess she thought my life was basically over at that point. And to be honest, I thought my life was over too. I really thought it was too, because the first thing that the court handed down was like, if I plead guilty, I'll get 25 years. And I'm like, I look at my lawyer and I tell him like 25 years? Like, for me, that is a long time for anybody, 25 years. Like 25 years, they don't come down on this at all. 25 years if I plead guilty. So I'm thinking I need to go ahead and plead guilty, because if I take this to trial and I lose in trial, I'm going to get more time than just 25 years. That's in my head. So he was like, just like you said, Chef, earlier, the attorney said, look, in Texas, murder is hard to prove. It's very hard to prove murder in Texas. So I'm telling you, take this to trial. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I eventually took it to trial. And I was scared. I was really scared shitless of going to trial, but I eventually went anyway.
So, okay, in terms of witnesses, because of course, in terms of situations with trials and all of that, right, there's the positions. Witnesses, how did the case look for you? Were there any eyewitness reports? Was the evidence looking out of your favor? Because of course it wasn't on video. So, and it was the two of y'all within an enclosed area. Was there a witness?
Yeah, and the witness was actually the girlfriend. Well, she didn't witness the shooting.
Okay, that's
she didn't witness she didn't witness the shot, but she was still in a case in a sense a witness, because she was in the vicinity or whatever. So
right.
She was a witness. She wasn't an eyewitness, but at that point during the trial, because she knew what she was going through with him. You see what I'm saying? I'm thinking at that point during the trial that she's gonna at least testify in my favor. You would think anyway. So that's what I thought was gonna happen, and it didn't go my way at the end of the day. So
let's talk about that. How did she, because basically she didn't testify in your favor. So, and you go into whatever detail you wish to or don't wish to, but in terms of whatever she said, did she give them a motive? Because normally one of the things that's required everywhere is going to be a motive. If it's not manslaughter, then if it's not manslaughter or second degree, but Texas only has one. What was the motive? Motive is required. So what did she say? What kind of testimony did she give to show that you had motive to take your bro's life?
All right, so basically her story was that y'all remember my original story about her wanting to use my phone, and when I said, okay, here you go, bam, and then I come back in to check on dude. That was the truth story. Her story was this, that he comes back from the South or whatever, or he comes back from the South because he got some drugs. So me and him start arguing. We start arguing because he went all the way to the South side to get drugs, and She sees that we're arguing, so she asks me for the phone, and I give her the phone, and she goes out to call somebody to bring them over here so they can stop our arguing. And then when she was trying to call somebody, she heard a gunshot. That was her story. So, yeah, her motive was the fact that he went to the South and I didn't like it, so I shot him. That was her story, pretty much, what it boiled down to.
Now I'm about to go a little deep, right? In terms of this question I'm gonna ask you. When people handle their personal defense, I mean their legal defense, especially when those people know that they were dirty, maybe not in that particular crime, but in terms of other stuff, right? So it's almost like saying you can't tell them, hell no, I didn't kill Miles Johnson on the West Side because I was on the South Side selling crack, right?
Yeah.
So, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, and then you end up finding a lot of guys that are facing time or facing a legal case. They won't tell the total truth because it could potentially incriminate them.
Yep.
Arena, or alienate the jury against them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So did you have yourself in that kind of situation where you were like, shit? Because in order for them to understand fully who this guy was, that you loved him and everything, but he was your tweaker homeboy that had a penchant for violence and liked guns. So how did you navigate that fine line of not snitching on the homie whose life you took, right? Even though you were forced to, not giving that away, and then not letting them know how fucked up that he was. Like, that's a hard thing to balance, because you love him, you lost him, and you know you did it, and at the same time, your freedom is required. It's almost as though you have to push down his character in order to leverage your freedom.
Yeah,
like that.
And that's what happened. That's exactly what I was feeling at that moment. Yeah, it was like, because me thinking during the whole trial phase, it's like, damn, I really need to get. I really ain't trying to go to jail for murder, period. But at the same time, like, I'm not trying to fuck his character up just to save my own ass. Like, I don't want to do that. It's not me. You see what I'm saying? But it's like, somehow I gotta be able to convince this jury that what I did was a complete accident. Like, him dying was a complete accident, without saying that this dude was on drugs and he was a hothead, all this and all that. I don't need to say all that. Like, I feel like I ain't got to say all that. I don't want to say all that. I don't want to assassinate his character just to save my ass, because that would make that, I couldn't live with that if I did that. You see what I'm saying? So there was a way for me to do that without assassinating his character. And matter of fact, the officer that arrested me saved me from doing it my damn self, because he's the one that testified and pretty much assassinated that man's character instead of me. He's the one that did it. So I'm like, well, you saved me. You assassinated my homeboy character. I don't have to do it. And if I had to do it, I don't know how I would go about doing it. I didn't know how I could do it. I probably wouldn't have been able to do it. So him just testifying and saying that he was this and all that, and he was on drugs and he was wanted for murder himself, I was like, well, thank you. I ain't got to say that now. Like, I didn't want to say it and I wasn't going to, but I'm glad somebody did. You probably saved me a little bit, maybe. So, yeah.
So, how long did the trial last?
It lasted in total 3 days.
Oh, shit.
Did you testify?
Yeah, I had to testify. I had to. I feel like I had to. Because especially after hearing what the girlfriend had to say, like before she testified, I felt like maybe I don't want to do it. I told my attorney I didn't want to testify. But after she said the shit she said, I felt like, okay, now I gotta defend myself. Now I need to testify. Because I felt like the jury was pretty much probably leaning to her side a little bit. But her one downfall that my attorney pointed out to her, remember that day that the whole incident happened? She had a black eye, and the attorney pointed that out. They had a picture of her with her black eye. How did you get this black eye? You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, she couldn't defend that.
So, at this point now, we're in the trial. You win. Excuse me, what's it? Baby, I'm live, please. So, at this point now, we're in the trial. It's like when you're watching a football game, right? Or it's almost like NBA playoffs because there's different days. There's days where you feel like you're up, and there's days when you be like, oh shit, I'm gonna be in this cage.
Yeah.
During that time, you know, did you start doing things? Watch this. When you're about to have a car accident and you see that it's going to happen, and we know there's nothing you could do to stop it at this point. What do we naturally do? We do this. We tense up. If somebody's about to swing, you may prepare your counter punch, but at the same time, you tensed up because you're bracing for impact. We do that. You know, you think your chick about to leave you. You think you might lose your job. You think this or that. We do things like brace for impact. I want you, because you went in knowing, nah, man, I'm taking this shit to trial. Tell me about when you started feeling like this may not be going your way and you started to brace for impact.
All right, so it started, let me think. It didn't start right after right after the whole thing happened. I'm thinking, okay, after he told me that it was hard for murder to get proven in Texas because it's hard to prove motive.
Right.
That I was like, okay, so I relaxed a little bit then. And I relaxed so much, my idiotic self was thinking, you know, I relaxed so much that I got my girlfriend pregnant. So she got pregnant, and
yeah, you relaxed. You relaxed because look,
that's how much I relaxed.
Look. I can't stand up when I'm stressed. I'm a straight turtle mode, yo.
But the thing about this is, like, she was due to have the baby like a week or two after the trial. So I was really praying for an overturn of, you see what I'm saying, an acquittal. I was really hoping for that because I wanted to see the birth of my child. You see what I'm saying? I really wanted to be there. So I really didn't. After he told me about the murder, it's hard to prove murder in Texas because it's hard to prove intent. After he said that, I eased up a little bit, but then I started to close myself in more as the days came before trial because I was just like, I don't know, like maybe I should have took the guilty plea because I just got a funny feeling something's going to happen to where they're going to find me guilty of this. So.
All right. So now we're at the point where, and if you remember, it's cool. If you don't, it's cool. Was it a jury trial or was it a straight judge?
Oh, no, it was a jury trial. Yeah.
It was a jury trial. You remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember the makeup of that jury? The racial
makeup
of that jury?
And
gender?
Yes, because during jury selection, there was, jury selection, a whole bunch of people just sitting out in the stands or whatever of the courtroom, and I'm looking at the potential jurors because they can only pick 12 and one alternate, whatever. So I'm looking, and I only see a few black folks in there. You see what I'm saying? There's two seated in the front seat, and they're two female. They're black females. You see what I'm saying? They're seated in the front. And I'm like, the rest of the crowd was white male, white female, and they were all a little older. And there was a couple Hispanics in there, whatever. But they were asking questions, and like if they ask questions and they don't fit those questions, they had to go. And then like they picked the jury from right to left, 1 to 12. So I'm looking, and my attorney's looking too, because he was like, this is gonna be your saving grace. these two black women right here are gonna save you if we can get them. And I'm like, I already know. So they asked all these questions, and one of the black women got up. Like she had to go. Like she didn't fit. So one stayed, and she was exactly number 12 juror. She was number 12. So I was like, cool. So it was one black female. There were 4 white males, 4 white females, and the other 3 were Hispanic or Indian or something like that. So I feel like it could have been more black folks on the jury, but it wasn't. It was only one. So I still didn't feel too good about my chances overall.
All right. So at this point now, we're moving in terms of the movie to a different scene now, right?
Yeah.
The night before is always an important thing in human existence. It's really weird. The night before a wedding, the night before your birthday, the night before your first day at school.
Yeah.
Shit. The night before Christmas, right?
Yeah.
New Year's Eve, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
The night before is important because you have a whole day to think about, right? A whole wonderful day to think about. I want you to talk to me about the night before deliberation. The night before you know if you were going to be found guilty or be acquitted for the crime. I want you to talk to me about the fear, and I want you to talk about the hope that you had. It's about feelings over here. I want to know about what you were feeling and thinking, and the little prayers you were saying for each one of them jurors whose faces that you had seen, because you understood they control the future of your destiny, potentially.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, the deliberation took place literally right after my testimony. So the night before that, I'm just thinking to myself, look, I really need to convince this jury that what I did was a complete accident. I did not intend to kill this man. See what I'm saying? So that was going through my head all this time. And I was just thinking, like, if I end up going to prison, I don't know what I would do. Like, because I always told myself I would never go to prison. Like, I don't know how I would make it in there. I didn't know, but I was scared to death to go. I'm not gonna lie. I did not want to go there, but I was just
Let me pause
in my head. Go ahead.
I gotta pause you, but I gotta share. I've never been to prison. One of my biggest fears, and I'm gonna be 50 in a few weeks, right? And one of my biggest fears, and I'd always seen my life and dreams and all of that, but I had never seen myself going past the age of 50. And one of my fears was, one of the biggest fears was getting locked up. Not getting locked up because I would be abused or this and that. I was afraid of even getting locked up for 2, 3, 4 years because I knew that the way my brain compartmentalizes itself and the things that I've seen and done and been around, that I would become somebody different because I had to. And my biggest fear was getting locked up and then getting life while I'm locked up, because I have to become the lion in order to survive within that environment. Real talk. It's one of those things that you think about. You think about the environment. You think about who you're gonna be. That getting locked up was one of my biggest fears because I knew that I would become a person that would be the perfect person for me to be successful within that situation over there. And then I would have to change. Yeah, man, I understand where you're coming from, but you go ahead, man. I had to share too, because you're dropping a lot with us, so I got to make sure it's reciprocal, my G.
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, that was just going through my head, like, I can't do time, like I don't want to do time. So I was just like convinced the jury that what I did was a complete accident. Yes, I meant to shoot him, like that was never in question. I did mean to shoot him, but I was defending myself and I did not try to kill this man whatsoever. And I was as shocked as anybody else when I found out he passed away. So that was my whole thought process going into the next day, which would be deliberation. Yeah.
Now, thank you. And that was going to be the next question. We all know that there's certain rules to deliberation. How quickly they come to a verdict, how long it takes for them to come to a verdict. How long did your deliberation take?
To be truthful, it only took, and I was shocked because my lawyer told me if they deliberate and it takes less than an hour, like you can pretty much just go ahead and work, think about what you're gonna do in prison. So
Yeah,
because yeah, that's what he says. Like the
guilties
less
come
time
quick.
they take, you guilty. Yeah. So this deliberation process only took 30 minutes. That's how long it took, was 30 minutes. So I was shocked. Like I was just like my heart sank. I was like, okay, I'm going to prison. That's what I thought. Like I knew they was coming back with a guilty verdict for murder. That's what I knew.
All right. Damn, it's heavy. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
So let's talk about your trip. Let's talk about that trip from jail to the state. You know, from the temp to the permanent home, semi-permanent home. Tell me about, now everybody doesn't understand this conversation and you don't have to, but just listen intently. Let's talk about the prep work, the psychological prep work that you did once you know that that judge hit the gavel. Well, first of all, thank you, Mama Goddess. How long did they give you?
Oh yeah. So
Sentencing.
they did
We
deliberate, and I was shocked at the results. Because first of all, they found me not guilty for murder. They didn't find me guilty for murder because they couldn't prove the intent whatsoever. But instead, they gave me the lesser charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. That stuck. So I was found guilty of aggravated assault, and they gave me 5 years in the penitentiary.
okay, we skipped something. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So for the record, and I'm glad Mama Goddess asked that question because we did skip an important piece. And this is a movie, of course. So, we got to make sure we have that scene. So
Yeah.
in essence, it was a loss in terms of the fact that you had to do time, but there was a triumph in terms of the fact that they did recognize that it was not your intent.
Yeah.
So what they gave you was the equivalent in another state of manslaughter,
Pretty much. Yeah.
right? So when I look at it in certain situations, there's times where they will levy certain charges or certain, judgments on folks, even juries, just because their heart feels like someone has to pay.
Yeah.
Someone has to pay. If it was and I'm gonna throw my own little political stuff in there. If it was a black jury or a jury that consisted of people that came from a more low income area that were more familiar with those type of activities, they might or they may have, excuse me, recognized the chess game of living within that community and understood you were just a regular good dude trying to handle yourself, protect yourself. But then, of course, when you have a certain amount of suburbia on a jury, and some of them men have never touched a gun before and may have never had a close relationship with a person of color before, they
Hmm.
may not understand the idiosyncrasies of how we live and in that type of situation, you
Right.
know. So now you got 5 years. It could have been life, right? They still got the chair in Texas. All
Yep.
right.
Yes.
Hmm.
So, and it's one murder, it's one type of murder. So you could have been strapped up. So
Definitely.
at any point, did you feel did you feel successful? Because what did they offer you? What was it that they offered you initially for the plea? What was the time they
Yeah.
were?
The original offer was 25 years.
Oh
Yeah.
shit. So you came out of the gate with only 20% of the proposed time. that the guilty plea would have got you. So to some degree, like even on that attorney's his history, his report card, that actually comes up as a win. He dropped 25 down to 5. Okay. But it's still 5 years of your life. And how old were you at that time?
At that time, that was in 2010. I was 23. Yeah, 23.
23 years old, 2010. And by that time, your child was born, yes?
My child, okay, so here's the thing about that. They dropped the sentence. My child was to be born a week later after that. So what I did, I already knew they weren't going to overturn the sentencing or whatever, but I still got an appeal bond just so I could see the birth of my child. Yeah, buy me some time so I can actually be there for my child a little bit. So, yeah, so I was able to see the birth of my daughter.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. So now we're at the real part, all right? The part in the movie where they'll show you clips in the commercials in the Real Talk 87 biopic movie. So now you're gonna be doing 5 years. 5 years. Any opportunities for parole? Any details in terms of the specificity of the sentence?
Yeah, there was it was 5 years, possibility of parole after 2.5. That was what it was. After 2.5 years, I would come up for parole, and each year after that, if I don't make it the first time.
All right. So Mama Goddess knows you, so she may know certain sprinkles of the story. Is there a piece that you might have forgotten? She said, wasn't there someone who was your saving grace with your sentencing?
I don't see where she got that from, but I think she does know my story a little bit. Because it is. No, not her. There was somebody who was my saving grace. And this is why, as hard as I am on Black women every now and then, and why I stopped talking so much about Black women now on my channel is because my saving grace, remember that Black juror I talked to you about, the Black woman? She was the one who saved me, because later on, like after the sentencing and I got my appeal bond and was still out and was waiting on the birth of my child, that same juror, and it's over with now, so like whatever. So that juror, she hit me up on Facebook, and I said, she looks familiar. I couldn't put my finger on where I seen her from, but then she told me I was one of the jurors, and she said, look, I got all of them to pretty much be like, look, this dude, because I know, she was like, I already know. I know the dude and I know his family. I didn't know she knew dude. Like, because pretty much, here's what happened. One of the questions that they asked all the potential jurors is, if you know this person or the victim, you can't be a juror. She stayed there, even though she knew dude. She didn't know me, but she knew him. You see what I'm saying? I didn't know any of this, but she pointed out that, yeah, I knew dude. So I felt where you were coming from when you were giving your testimony. So that's why I told them, and I was like, give them this verdict. All right. So I thanked her for that, and I will forever be grateful that she did that, like forever, for real, because she did save me.
Cool. Thank you. So now, you know that the next 5, you're 23 years old. And then according to these folks, you know that you're not going to see. I'm sorry, Andrea. Go ahead. Pardon me.
Bill, I think you missed something in the story.
What?
Remember the girl who testified?
Yeah.
That you didn't say nothing about that. The girl who testified.
The girl? What girl?
The girl who testified, they said that she knew that how her friend, the girlfriend's friend testified at the trial.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, my bad. So the girlfriend, her friend came up also and testified. This was after the girlfriend testified. She came up, testified, and was like, look, I seen how the deceased guy is. I seen what he's did to her. And really, I know, and I've known, and she pointed at me, she said, I've known him long enough, not that long, but long enough to know that he was just protecting her. That's all he was doing because he has put his hands on her numerous times. So I gave her a little wink, like thank you, even though you didn't have to do that. So yeah, that was my two saving graces, her and then also the black female juror. They did protect me in that aspect. So I always be indebted, in a sense to black women. I love them without a doubt.
My man, me too. You know how Jimmy Cozier said, sometimes I love her, sometimes I love her not. But I'm thankful she's all I got. Sometimes she nags me, sometimes she screams a
Yeah.
lot, but I'm thankful. Real talk. Peace out. Gabrielle, he's one of our folks in Canada and he watches the show. And he been here every single day. And as soon as we got monetized, he makes sure he drops something in. So I appreciate not so much the money, but I appreciate the time that he put forth to make that money. And he's sharing it with us. So thank you, Gabrielle. I appreciate you. And folks, Mama said, listen, this is one of my favorite movies. So she's liking this movie. We doing a movie, fam.
Yeah.
So now, 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Before we hit the bus or before we hit that ride over to, your 5-year home, what was the conversations with the fam?
All right.
Because one of the things people get like, you start to kind of check temperatures of people that's all around you that you love to know who's going to be the ones that's there with you in pocket. How did that look for you?
Yeah, so before I hit that bus, because I knew I had to turn myself in the next couple of days I had to turn myself in. So I got in contact with my brother reached out to me. So this is when we had our long conversation.
Malcolm.
After so many years. Yeah, Malcolm. This is when we had our long conversation finally. And he was like, bro, I was not trying to make you feel bad back then. Like I was just having fun with you. Bro, I know, we were kids. Don't worry about it. So he was like, look, I know you finna go do some time, man. Just, hey, do your time, come home. Cause you got a baby now. Just do your time, man. Just do it and come home. Like, don't get involved in none of the bullshit that goes on in there. None of that. Just, hey, they can free your body, but they can never free your. They can lock up your body, but they can never lock up your mind. And I know how strong-willed you are, how strong-minded you are. Keep your mind free while you're locked up. So I was like, man, I appreciate that, bro, and I love you. So that was the best advice my little brother ever gave me, for real. And we've been cool to this day. We still talk couple times out the month now. So yeah, we definitely cool.
But you discharged from the military?
Yeah, I ended up getting discharged too.
And they gave you a dishonorable based on that?
No, it was not. It was a general. They did not give me dishonorable because they kind of felt they couldn't. Of course, they couldn't give me an honorable. They couldn't do that. But they was like, they definitely felt my story too and where I was coming from. So they gave me a general.
Yeah, if they gave you a general, what they're saying is, look, we don't got no problem with him at all. But we can't really tell how much problem we got with you. But us, if it was us, we would probably lean with him. But because y'all give him this charge, so they basically put it to you this way. They gave you a general. They could have given you a dishonorable, but they gave you did it come after the verdict?
Yeah, it was after. Yeah.
So, especially coming from the military, that's a major statement that you were given a general discharge, because they could have just went with the verdict and gave you dishonorable and, impacted benefits, this, that, and the other. You were given a general, which means that so there's a difference.
Okay.
Normally, if you're in the military and you age out, the time you age out, or you go out at the eligible retirement times, what happens is if everything is above board, you get an honorable discharge. Honorable discharge is what you want. What you don't want is a dishonorable discharge, AWOL, committing crimes, this, that, and the other.
Okay.
But then there's a middle one, which is a general discharge, right? Which is a little different, where with general discharge, you're not going to get, all of the extra pats on the back, but you're still going to get the thank you for serving.
Okay.
Yep.
It's honorable. Get the fuck out of here. You embarrassing me.
Okay.
And you get no benefits whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
So
they wanted to still give him his benefits because they recognize what took place.
okay, so you still got your benefits.
Mhm. I got general under honorable conditions. Yeah. So I still got them. So it was all good.
Yep. 100 Watts. 100 Watts is one of the original members of the channel as well. We have a group together, me, him, and Victor Squeeze. Victor Freeze. That's funny. Yeah, Victor Freeze. We got a group called, we call ourselves the Nighthawks, right? We would run until 3, 4, 5 in the morning. But he's also a retired Air Force veteran. And both of them are. Okay, retired Air Force veterans. And so he said he got out under general under honorable conditions. Okay. So now we're in the live session now. You on that ride. You on the last 30 minutes of your ride to where you're going to your home for the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about that prep work. Talk to me about, oh shit, okay, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. We're about to get to a fight and we're like, all right, we done.
Yeah.
Come on. Talk to me about that psychological prep work. Damn, that shit hurt my big man. But you get it.
Yeah, so basically I'm just thinking to myself, okay, is prison like what they say in the movies? Like what I see in the movies, is it like that at all? Like, I hope it's not. And then I always hear people say, you go to prison, you're gonna get raped and all stabbed and all that shit. What people always say about prison. People who've never been to prison always say stuff like that. But anyway, I'm thinking this in my head. Like, hopefully nobody mess with me. You know what I'm saying? Just don't mess with me. I ain't gonna mess with nobody, don't mess with me. So my whole thought process is don't go in there too timid, but don't go in there too tough either. Like, cause you get fucked with if you act too timid or too tough. Both extremes you're gonna get messed with. I already know this. So I'm just gonna go in there, kind of neutral, not timid, but not acting all brash and tough either. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna go in there, shit, and act like I'm comfortable, like I done did time before, even though I haven't. Act like I done did some time before, and then they'll, be like, all right, cool. So I'm just, go ahead.
How old was your daughter when you went in?
She was less than 1, I think. Hold on. No, she was a little old. She was a little over 1. Like, I think she was like 14, 15 months.
So you left her behind and
yes.
Nobody else? Was it a wife?
Huh?
Was it a girlfriend or a wife?
If I remember, I think he was saying that she was related. The mother of the child was related to the person who lost their life. Was that correct?
But then you get married.
Yeah.
Then you get married.
I'll get to that. Hold on. But
she's skipping in the movie, yo. She's skipping in the movie.
She's skipping.
Okay.
You wasn't married when you were locked up, right?
No, I was.
Oh shit!
I skipped over that because listen, I tried so hard to forget the fact that I was married. I hate that fact.
If you hear your doorbell ring, it's the polygraph test. They're gonna strap you up, son.
I always try to ease over that fact that I was married at that point in time.
This marriage, get to this marriage.
See? Look, I'm like, what you saying, Andrea? When I should be saying thank you, Andrea. Yo, Andrea, drive for a second and grill him real quick. Go ahead, drive. Grill him.
What happened with this marriage? Okay.
All right, so let me reverse track then. Okay, so during my appeal, actually before the trial and before I got actually locked up to do my 5 years, a lot went on. All right, so my first girlfriend after that, which was my first baby mama. Okay, she had a baby, whatever, and then we split up, because it wasn't my fault or her fault. Like, we just decided, we don't want to be together no more. So we both understood that. So I eventually got with this other girl, right? Mm-hmm. And I knew her like from a long time ago when I was still in the Army, like back in 06, 07. I knew her back then. And I knew she always liked me, but I wasn't really feeling her too much because, I just wasn't. I didn't really like her like that. But we got together, and then yes, we ended up getting married.
Mm-hmm.
That happened, and that was a mistake because I listened to the bullshit she had to tell me. Like, I asked her, I said, "Look, I'm going away for 5 years. Like, you already know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be gone 5 years. I know how you are because I know how you were years ago. All right." I know this. Like, you're gonna get hot in your pants and you're gonna do what you do, which I don't care about. Do whatever. I'm not gonna stop you from doing what you want to do. All right. So she was like, look, listen to me. She was like, listen, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be a loyal, faithful wife. Let's do this. So I'm like, you know what? I ain't got nothing better to do. So my ignorant self, my ignorant, small-minded self back then was like, all right, fuck it, let's do it. So we ended up getting married. And that was a mistake at the end of the day. So yeah, I got married right before I got locked up. Like, I want to say about 6 months before I got locked up.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
So now you're on that road to the prison.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is gonna be the first prison.
Yeah.
How long?
And
Sorry.
huh?
How long were you there at this first prison?
So the first prison was a transit center. It was like a transit, like you're only there for like a couple of weeks or whatever, where they figure out which prison you're gonna go to, like which region, whatever. So I was there for a first couple of weeks, and they shaved all my hair. Like they shaved
That's
it
where they
all
do
off.
the intake.
Yeah,
That's where they do the
intake.
intake, folks. It's like just like if you go to college and certain schools will give you not an equivalency test, but they'll give you a placement exam to determine if they're going to put you in AP Advanced Calculus or Remedial Math, right? Normally, the intakes, what they'll do is they kind of see and judge your citizenship as a prisoner. They have an algorithm. They utilize the severity of your crimes, the length of time that you would be in, and they kind of look to see what kind of inmate you are to determine where they're going to send you.
Yep.
So, okay, at this point now, you know you're doing the hard five.
Mm-hmm.
Where was going to be your most permanent home?
Well, okay, so during my 5 years, I was at really two different prisons. I was at, first of all, they called it was a state jail, really. It was like half TDC and half was state jail. So that was my first home, and I was there for about 2 years, actually 22 months, because TDC couldn't be there longer than 22 months. So I was there for 22 months. And then my second home was at a prison. It was called the Estes unit, which was right outside of Dallas. So I was there for the remainder of my time.
Okay, so because normally what would take place, folks, sometimes if somebody has a 10-year stint as major crime and, you know, they're going to be doing a longer period of time, they may look for a more permanent home for them. But when you have somebody doing 5 years, there's certain limits to the types of facilities, the jails versus the prisons versus penitentiaries, which means that because of his sentence, he could have been put for 5 years in a permanent hellhole, but you were cut between two different places at their maximum housing time, so to speak, right? So now we in pocket.
Yep.
Your first morning waking up. Because I'm about the feelings, bro. Your first morning waking up. How did you feel? What was that anxiety? What was it? What did it look like to you?
Well, I'll say this. Go ahead.
No. I was going to say in your sentence, not just in the jail, but actually serving that time.
Oh, actually serving the time. Okay. So my first actual morning, I was still in county jail, and I'm like, it finally dawned on me, I'm going to have thousands of more mornings like this, just like this, and I'm not gonna like it whatsoever. So really, the first month, because I was in county jail for like, I want to say 60 days, and then I went to the prison transit. Those 60 days in county, and then the next 30 days in transit and at the state jail was like the longest days of my life until I actually start to settle down. That's when it kind of, I got into my regular, got a job, went to reg, did all that. Once I started doing that on a regular, they went by pretty smoothly.
So during that time, because we're in that sentence now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to just talk about the things that happen, the stuff like American Me stuff and all of that. I want to talk about you the star of this movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about the fears of your game plan when you first got in. And then I want you to tell me about how it changed or transitioned while you was in there to something else. Because I know you had a plan initially, how you were going to go in there and how you were going to be. Tell me about the transition of your plan or the evolution of your plan to be safe and to get the hell up out of there.
Yeah. Well, initially my plan going in it wasn't that I was even scared to go in because of the people there. Like I wasn't worried about none of the prisoners. Like I wasn't worried about them at all. Like whatever. It was more like I don't want to go in and then coming out being worse than I was going in. That's what I was scared of the most. I did not want to be like that. So my whole game plan going in was remember what my brother said. Don't get your mind locked up. Like you're gonna be locked up. Your body's gonna be there, but make sure your mind stays free. So that was my plan going in all along. Yes, do your time. All right. Don't let the time do you. Just do your time, and do not make your mind a prisoner. Keep your mind free. I kept that in my head literally the whole 5 years. Just do my time. That's it. That is it.
So now I want you to tell me about, if you wish to share, I want you to give your happiest moment, but there's a rule to this one right here. There's two. I want your happiest moment and your most painful moment while you were in there. But I want you to lay it out, whichever one came first, with the happy moment or the painful moment. And I want you to tell me about them in that order.
That's a good one. Actually, I got like two very painful moments. But first was the happiest moment, and that was like a few months after I got locked up, like three months after I got in prison. Remember Andrea, the woman that I married?
Yes.
She was pregnant and had my baby. So seeing my child at visitation, that was like I couldn't imagine. Like that was my happiest moment I ever had, and that was just within the first couple months of me being locked up. So that was my happiest moment. What's up?
No. I'm gonna time you out, Andrea, because I know it.
Just give me. I know this story.
Look. Well, he was saying I was about to push back on you about something else because I want him to say something. This is very important.
Okay.
Trust me, Andrea.
Okay. But I got something to say too, so I can help this story. Okay.
Right. So but I don't have something to say. I have something to ask. Right.
Okay.
What's up?
It's real talk. Can you please share with Andrea and those folks out there about the importance and the feeling of washing over your soul when somebody from the outside comes to visit you and can potentially bring your child to visit you? Tell me about, I don't want to tell, you don't even have to say this situation. I want you to tell me about that feeling when you get to see your loved one and your child there in front of you.
It's great because it makes, and I can speak really for any prisoner. Like anybody who's locked up, having a visit from somebody from the outside is just a feeling of relief because it gives you that sense of I'm free for the moment. You see what I'm saying? Like I see somebody who is free, now I'm free with them for the moment. You see what I'm saying? And it makes Yeah, it's a reminder. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? It also makes you think that, okay, they're coming to see me. They haven't forgot about me then, obviously. So that's always wonderful.
Thank you. And I say this to you because I always, we rock with Audrey. We love her on this channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
she was one of the people that was like, "Oh, hell nah. I'm not finna take no kids to no jail or whatever."
Yeah.
The thing is, me just debating with her, it would have just been me debating with her, and I was not in that situation. But the thing is, I was not able. That's why I kind of utilize you, and I appreciate you, family, as an example to say, remember, those people that are in there, they need to know the hope of the street and know everything that exists within the balance of their life while they're in there, so that they have something to work towards. They see little, they see little real Talk 87 Jr. and they feeling him, and they seeing that, wow, this is my little man. He's gonna be in the streets. I don't want him to be in the same place as me. Those are the things that make people work harder to get out and to behave when they're in there. We may not want to do that because we say, oh, hell nah, I ain't never finna do this. The thing is, in order to make somebody who's in that crazy institution where they do everything to beat you down, is to know what they have on the outside. So you have that goal, you have that light at the end of the tunnel. And I think if more people visited their folks, even the ones that were guilty in prison, it may have put them in a particular situation where they would behave better. They may come out early. They may not be as institutionalized. Sorry, go ahead, brother.
It's very easy for somebody to lose hope when they locked up. If they ain't getting no visits, no letters, no money on their books, it's easy for somebody to lose hope, real easy. So it's always important to actually spend time and actually see them or write them a letter, at least.
Definitely. We're sorry, Andre, and now I'm going to concede the floor to you.
Was that your first baby mama? Was that your first baby mama?
Was who? No.
No. So you already had a child.
Mm-hmm.
How old was that child?
Which one?
The oldest one. So you had
the oldest one. The oldest one at that time was right around 2. She was 2. Yeah.
Did she come? Did she come and visit you?
Yeah, she came. She came up. She came a few times actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
What was your other question? I know you had another question.
No, I have no other question.
Oh, okay.
So, Andre, you see her questions. So now, 5 years of your time, 5 years of your life. Tell me about what type of stuff you were doing in there. What type of recreation? What did you do to build Real Talk 87?
All right. So I want to say when I was in the state jail, the first 2 years I was gone, I was just playing basketball. When I went to rec, I played. I hooped with some of the dudes out there, and I also worked inside the kitchen. So I was hooping and going to work every day. Hoop, go to work, hoop. That's how my days generally went over there. So that gave me, how can I say it? That gave me I can't think of the word right now, but pretty much every day I would hoop and go to work and come home, watch a little TV. Yeah, structure. There it is. Structure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Gave me a little structure. So that's what I did the first 2 years is hoop, go to work, and then when I went to the next unit, the last 2.5 years, 3 years, I did a lot of working out and working. Like I didn't hoop as much, but I did work out. Like I did lift some weights, just get a little muscle on me. And I also went to work. So yeah, that's basically what I did. As long as I kept my mind free, I was good. And also the last 3 years, I got into books more too. I started to read a whole lot more. And that's what made me more spiritual is reading. Reading made me a whole lot more spiritual.
That's funny when in terms of your story, and I understand the spiritual aspect, but the thing is, I didn't get enough digging. When you see redemption, the T in redemption, I have it as a cross. But did you did you change? You know, that was just a Christian assumption, right? But did you, you know, get deeper into your spirituality? Did you join Islam? You know, like tell me about that part while you were
All
in
right.
there,
Yeah.
because
So
this is
this
a
one,
redemption story.
yeah. All right. So basically, like, first of all, I don't knock anybody's belief. Like, whatever you believe in, that's fine with me, as long as you believe in something. See what I'm saying? So I grew up as a Christian. I was raised a Baptist. All right. So I always had church in my blood growing up, whatever. So, but I was never that spiritual person. I was just like, I go to church, I believe in Jesus, I'm going to heaven, like most people believe, right? So once I got locked up, like my beliefs changed. All right, like I still believe, like, let me put it like this: I still believe in the Bible per se, but I don't consider myself a Christian anymore. You understand? I'm just more in tune that it's tough for me to explain it the way I'm thinking it in my head, pretty much. But basically, I do believe in a higher power. Y'all call him God, Yahweh, whatever y'all want to call him. All right, I do believe in that, but I don't believe it's any person or force. I just think God is like whatever you want God to be. That's what God is, pretty much. All right. But as far as the Bible goes, I believe those stories in the Bible are not historically factual, but they're a bunch of parables to teach a certain truth about life. That's what I think the Bible is.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Great answer. And I appreciate that too, in terms of you understanding the balance.
Yeah.
So while you were talking too, I was listening, but also debating if I was going to show this one. But, you know, we got a lot of ladies here, so I'll show this one. Mama Goddess asks, what did you do for sex? Did you have anyone try you on that level?
Huh.
And Derek followed up with yikes. Right.
Well, I can say a lot of, like I said earlier, a lot of people who've never been to prison, they automatically assume you're going to get tried when you go to prison. That's not true. Like I've only seen that happen one time in my 5 years locked up. Somebody got tried and it happened. All right. But as far as I go, nobody really tried me in prison. Fortunately, didn't happen. There was one time where me and this female guard, we almost did it, but we almost got caught too, so nothing happened. So I just had to stay strong in prison.
That's some light skin shit right there. You know what I mean? She was on that Chris Brown.
Yeah.
Okay. Mama Goddess said, I mean, realistic. A man has needs. Okay. Cool.
Okay, so
go ahead, Andrea.
Go back and the two hardest moments you was gonna go back to.
It was the happiest, the happiest and the saddest moments.
The saddest. Yeah. Okay. So I already talked about my happiest. So the saddest came like I want to say 10, 12, no, probably a year after my happiest moment. So I get a letter from some court in Texas, right? And it was saying that my youngest daughter was in some kind of custody or whatever because the mother the mama, she had 2 kids. And this is why I said me marrying her was a big mistake, because she had 2 other babies on me within a year of each other. So her second child and her third child were only like literally 10 months apart. So basically the dude she was with had her strung out on drugs. And I think it was meth she was on or whatever. So she was neglecting my daughter. So my mother had to take in my daughter. And like, I want to say for at least 6 or 7 months, what it was saying, for 6, 7 months, my daughter hadn't changed clothes. You know what I'm saying? She wore the same pissy clothes every day for literally some months. And her mother did nothing about it. And all this while I was locked up and couldn't do anything about it. And I didn't find out until then. You see what I'm saying? So as soon as I seen that, I reached out to my mother. I called my mom and said, look, go get my daughter from this girl. And I found out that she didn't even have her no more, like the state had her. So she had to beg the state to get her. So that was a really sad moment. I could never, and I still haven't forgiven her for that. Like that's one thing. That's one person I have not forgiven at all in my life. It's her.
So your mom took custody of your daughter while you was locked up.
Yeah.
Peace and love to mama. Peace and love to mama.
Yeah, no doubt.
Even the moms that people may have issues with, you know, they do the best that they can, and I'm glad that she was able to jump in. And the beauty of that dynamic is she understands where she may have went right or wrong with you, and grandbaby is the do-over, and is a guarantee she gonna be better. So that's a beautiful thing. Peace to your mom. Real
Was
talk.
your daughter in foster care? Was your daughter in foster care?
No, but the other two kids were, and I think they still are.
So your mom went and got your daughter, and the other two was in foster care.
Yeah, at that time, the other two were in foster care. I actually, you know what? I don't know. I know the state did have control over my daughter. I don't know if she was in foster care or not, but I do know that my mama ended up getting her. That's all I do know. But the other two are in foster care to this day still, I think. I believe. I'm not sure. But I know the mama don't have neither one of them. Like, she lost custody of all three of her kids.
So when your mom took custody of your daughter while you was away, how long were you away until you got back to be able to be
wait, you skipping. You skipping. We
my bad.
Remember, he had a 5-year sentence, right?
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Right. So we ain't there yet.
Okay.
All right.
Now, hold on.
Now, you were eligible parole after 2.5?
2.5, yeah.
2.5. Did you go up for parole? What did you do? Tell me what.
When I was up for parole, you know, I forgot all the steps you take, but pretty much I was up for parole and I got denied, which I wasn't really too mad about. I mean, I was mad because I had to stay in another year at least, but at the same time, I was like.
But wait, I got to stop you. Do you think you were denied because, you know, they didn't feel you, or you were denied because you may have been unprepared with that particular with that request at that time?
I mean, if you want me to be honest, I think I got denied because there were some people out there who did not want me to get out.
Okay.
And you know, a lot of what they say has strength, has you know, a lot of strength on me a person getting out or not. If they don't want you out, you're not gonna get out. The family of the victim, you know, some of them had to say so one day and they didn't want me out. So particularly the mama, I believe, she said something and I didn't get out.
All right. So now you get your release date. How long before your actual release date did you get notification of your release date?
It was less than a year, actually, because I was up for parole a little less than a year before I actually got released. So I was up for parole in January of 2016 and got denied, but then I got my release. I got the date of my release right after that, and I was dated to be released on December 7th of 2016. So I was like, okay, less than a year. I got 11 months left. So I wasn't tripping about being denied for parole. I just do this last 11 months and I'll be free. So I was like motivated, and I was real motivated, even though those last 7 months took a long time. So yeah.
So you said motivated, but we about feelings over here. People be telling me I be too much in the feelings, but I think feelings make the man. They make the movement. They make the choice.
Yep.
So when you knew, talk to me about that feeling. Okay. People that have been locked up, I was not in prison, but I hold court with a lot of different kind of people, you know, and I'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
You got 1 week till you're going to see the sun without anything stopping you without no fences, without no gun line, without no, you know what I mean? You understand?
Yep.
Tell me about that week. Tell me about the fear, because I told you earlier, my biggest fear was that I was gonna become that vicious lion if I ever got put in the penitentiary. That I might have got a 6-year charge and I might end up doing life because I would become that lion that would be required to be able to survive. So at this point now, you got a week to go, and you know what happens to those folks that when they know you finna be gone in a few days, everybody's coming for your head. Pause. Everybody, you know, tell me about that, the anxiety, the happiness and anxiety cocktail that you had going on in you within a month, within that week, knowing that, okay, I gotta stay out of bullshit. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
talk to me about that.
All right. So yeah, that last week, and actually, I'm gonna say the last day because the last week I ended up getting shipped to the actual where I was gonna be released at.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, that last day I was at that particular prison, man, it was stressful because some people knew I was leaving and they were cool with because I was cool with a lot of people in the pod or whatever. But some was like some people. There's some prisoners, that don't like seeing people leave. They hate it. You know what I'm saying? I had those people looking at me, mugging me. Really, I'm like, bruh, really? Like, I was really about to fight with them, but one of the dudes was like, bruh, you finna go home. All right, stay out of bullshit. So I was like, all right, got you. So I was really like, hopefully I don't get in no shit this last 24 hours because I'm not trying to get another charge put on me and then staying here longer than I expected to be here. So there was some dude, and nothing happened. I ended up leaving anyway. Nothing happened, but dudes in the power really mad that I was about to go, and other dudes was like congratulating me because some of them were finna leave too. You see what I'm saying? So they was like congratulating me, say, "Stay out of trouble, bro." So my whole thing was, man, look, I got 1 week left. I'm finna go to another unit now where I'm getting released at. Stay out of bullshit. Just stay out the way. Do the rest of your week. That's it.
Okay. So now, jail took place. All of these, when if you ever been to film school, they talk about build up and everything. We're at the place where it's called denouement, DENOUMENT in terms of movies. That's the
Mhm.
resolution of the story. So I want you to tell me about the real Talk 87 that walked out past those fences to hug somebody on that day. And I want you to tell me about who he is today.
All right, so the Real Talk 87, I walked out finally after 5 years. He was unsure of himself. Like, I was very unsure of what to do. Like, I'm out. Like, my whole time in prison was like, get out of here. But I never once thought while I was in there, what are you gonna do when you get out? I never thought about that until I'm finally out. Now, what the hell am I gonna do? You see what I'm saying? So I was very unsure when I walked out them gates and hugged my mama and my two children for the first time in a while. So I was like, damn, I got two kids. Now I need to actually raise these two kids. So that's my whole thought. And I'm like, damn, I'm a felon now. It's hard to look for a job, to find a job. Somebody's gonna want you. It's gonna be real hard. Not only that, but I broke up with my wife. Like, we're gonna get a divorce. I don't want to live with her. Like, we're not gonna live together. So now I got to live with my mother now at 29. I gotta live with her until I get back on my feet at least. So that part, I was unsure of myself. I was worried about not getting a job. So I needed to look for a job, but I was very like, I don't think anybody's gonna want to hire me. So I really thought at that time I might need to go back to dealing drugs again. I might need to do that. Luckily, that didn't happen. So after about 2 months of job searching, actually one month and 3 weeks, because the whole first week I was just enjoying the fact that I was free. First week, that's all I was doing, enjoying and spending time with my kids. That's all I was doing. What were you supposed to say, Andrea?
Were you on parole or not?
No, I wasn't. I did day for day. I did all 5 years, day for day.
There was a 5-year sentence. So normally the way it works, Andrea, let's say if you do 10 years, you may be able to get parole in 6 years or 7 years. But what that means is when you get parole, it doesn't mean that you're free. All the parole means is that your jail cell is larger now, right?
Yeah.
So which means you still have to report. You're still property of the penal system. You just have a larger cell. And in terms of people getting parole actually helps the government save money in terms of incarceration. That's where you get the ankle bracelets and the conditional release and all of that. So when it comes down to the parole, if your sentence is 5 years, you did 5 years, you're good. If your sentence is 5 years and you do 3.5, that extra year and a half is on parole.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're still property of the system, So at this point now, we've gone through, we saw the movie, we saw, in my mind, I seen you like Kane and Menace, early on in the movie, and we got to see the situation and everything. So let's talk now. We at the part where they're playing the music in the movie, where you came through that war, you came through that fire. Tell me about what makes Real Talk 87 a great man and a great father today.
Well, now, like back then, the decisions I made were pretty much selfish decisions. Like I did everything based on what I felt like I needed to, what I felt like I wanted to do. Now the decisions I make are based on what my kids need. Like I do everything for my children. I think twice before I make any irrational decisions. Like now people can say what they want to out here in the streets, whatever. I'm not gonna I don't care what you say. Like whatever. Say whatever you want to say. Like I don't care. That don't move me no more. Like I'm no longer that hothead that I was back when I was a kid and a young adult. I'm not that no more. You see? That's what I can say. That's one good thing I can say about prison. Prison is what you make it. People want to say that prison does not help the prisoner or whatever like that. It will if the prisoner allows it to help. You see what I'm saying? That's why I always say prison is what you make it. And I made prison what I wanted to, and it helped me in the long run. You see what I'm saying? I'm no longer that. I'm still somewhat of a hothead, but I don't let my hot-headedness get in the way of my decision making. So the first thing I do before I make a decision is I think about what my kids need, what my kids would think, and all that stuff. So I feel like that's what makes me a good father is I put my kids' needs before my own, and I work for my kids, and I make sure they just want for nothing. I don't tell my kids that they need to struggle in order to what some idiotic parents say nowadays. They need to understand the struggle. I don't want my kids to understand that. I need them not to have to go through any kind of struggle. You see what I'm saying? So I just want my kids to have everything I didn't have, and the stuff I did have, I want them to have that and more without having to go through what I went through. And I'm also transparent with them too. I let them know what I've been through. I let them know that I was locked up and what exactly I did. And don't do that. It's not right. Don't do it. You don't want to go to prison. So,
my man. So I'm gonna say this to you. People could give gifts. I could give somebody food. I could give them money. They will eat the food and they will forget it 20 minutes after shitting it out. I could give them the money. They will forget it after it's spent. One of the things I like to do is provide people with feelings, because feelings are the things that make us understand and remember, Yeah. So in terms of this exercise and everything I understood about your story and what Andrea shared, I kind of have a gift for you of feelings, right? But before I deliver that gift, and that gift it's going to get it's going to get me a copyright claim, and I'm cool with that. You feel what I'm saying? I may end up editing it out or whatever, but it's going to give me a copyright claim. But before we get to what I consider that gift of feeling in terms of what your story meant to me, I want to ask you a question, and this is important because we call this redemption, you know, which means that you understand, even though situations took place where you're able to understand what may or may not have been a mistake, right? So I'm going to ask you an important question, my dude. Your baby girl, your daughter, when she's of age and she comes to Thanksgiving dinner or the family cookout and she has a young man with her, he looks like he loves her, but he reminds you of real Talk 87 at his age. What kind of light would you shine on that young brother?
That's a tough question. That is a tough question.
Woo.
That's very tough. The first thing I would tell that man is, look, I see a lot. I'm gonna be honest with him. I see a lot of the young me in you. I see a lot of that. And brother, young brother, I don't want you to go through anything that I went through. Like, I don't want you making the same mistakes I made. I don't know what you've been through, but if you want to talk to me man to man privately, we can have a discussion. And hey, I'll tell you anything you need to know about me, my past. Hey, just be upfront with me. First of all, why are you with my little girl? For one, why are you with her? What do you love about her? And what are you doing right now? We'll start there. That'll be a perfect start. And then after that, hopefully me and him can get some kind of camaraderie going on where he can trust me, and I can trust him and he can trust me to be his, what you want to call it, a confidant or whatever. Because I don't want to. I don't like to be one of those fathers who wants to put the fear of God in some little boy. I don't want to do that. Like, that's stupid for any. I'm not gonna say it's stupid for any father to do, but that's just weird for a father to do. Like, you would want to build some kind of trust with the boyfriend of your daughter. Build some kind of trust with him at first, so he can come to you and talk to you about like real honest things if he needed to. You see what I'm saying? You don't want to be this boy's enemy because he may or may not be family later on down the road. You see what I'm saying?
Man, I agree. I totally agree. That's one of the old school things that I think is important for our newer generation to understand. A lot of time, especially just in terms of creating situations or dynamics with marriage, start having a conversation with the father of that woman or that girl that you appreciate. There's something about us as fathers, because we know we're dealing with men and we understand the burden of performance, peace to Victor Freeze, the burden of performance that we have as men. We sometimes be like, yeah, I don't even know if I like you, dude, because my daughter's crazy and you messing with her, so I don't even know how to look at you. We happen to be like that. We'll be very honest, So in terms of that situation, I appreciate your honesty in terms of how you would address that dude, because it is important. Fellas, daddy will tell you everything. Sometimes you got to get him a 6-pack. Sometimes it's a 6-pack. Sometimes it might just be half a shot. Sometimes you just ask him a question. He pissed off at her sisters, and her mama, and he ready to tell you as everything. I think that understanding the creator.
Is that right?
Say it again.
Huh?
Sometimes it might be a blunt.
Yeah, a blunt, definitely a blunt.
Yeah, right. Depending on the daddy. Listen, yo.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
What's up?
So when you came home, did you have custody over your daughter?
Not at first. No, I had to go to the court to get custody, and that in itself was hell, because they didn't want to give it to me, because when I seen that paperwork, I was also in the paperwork, and I was pretty much in the court's eyes at fault because I'm not there, because I'm locked up. So it was hard for me to even get custody. but I eventually did get it. So
when you came home, you didn't have custody. You only had what? She was living with you. You was her guardian.
she was living with my mama at first. She was the legal guardian at first, and then I went to court and I fought for custody. And eventually, I got it finally. So yeah, she's with me now.
And how old was when you got custody of her?
What am I, 34? This was in 2018 when I got custody. So that was like 4 years ago. So I was like 30 or 31. Yeah.
Okay. And does she see her mother, if you don't mind me asking?
Huh?
Do your daughter see her mother?
You know what's funny about that?
Mm-hmm.
There was one time, I think it was that next year after I got released, where the mother wanted to see her.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, because I'm not as much as I didn't like her at that time for not taking care of my daughter, I wasn't no asshole. Like people, you always say I'm an asshole, Andre, but I'm not that much of an asshole. Like I did let her see her, but I said under one condition: you cannot tell my daughter who you are. If she knows who you are, then that's different. But if she don't know who you are, don't tell her. Okay, because so you're not going to be in her life like that.
How old was your daughter when your mother got her? When your mother got her, how old was?
When my mother got her, she was barely a year old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So my daughter didn't know who she was. You see what I'm saying? She didn't know who the mama was. She was only with her for like the first year. So when the mother did come see her, my daughter didn't know who she was. You see what I'm saying? So, and I told her, don't tell her who you are if she don't even know who you are, because you're going to break. So now I do know why. And this comes back full circle too. Now I know why my mother didn't tell me about my father. Now I know why. You see what I'm saying?
Got the question I was going to go for.
Yeah.
Wrap it all up. Wrap it up for them. Let them know. Talk to me about that, because that was the other question, please.
Yeah. All right. So I thought that my father just didn't want to didn't want no kids, didn't want to take care of no kids. But the thing is this: I found out the truth probably a couple years after I got out. Because when I was fighting the whole battle, the whole legal battle with what happened, the shooting or whatever, he reached out to me online, and he told me who he was, and I was mad at him. I didn't believe a word he was saying. He pretty much said he's been looking for me for years now, and he couldn't find me. I found it to be a bunch of bullshit, so I held a lot of that anger in until like I got released. You see what I'm saying? And once I did get released, I tried everything to get that anger out of me, because I wanted to actually hear my father out. I wanted to hear him out as to why he wasn't there. So I took a trip to California, because that's where he was living at. That's where I was born at. And my mother also took the trip because she wanted to see him. And yeah, we all took that trip. Man. Yeah.
That's dope, bro.
Yeah, it is. So we took that trip, and we sat down, and he told me the story again. And his story was that him and my mother, they were never a couple. They were just, doing whatever, and ended up having me. But he did say that during the first year of my life, he did come to see me every single day. But my mother ended up getting into a relationship with my little brother's father. They ended up getting into a relationship. He didn't want a relationship, so they never got together. So pretty much my mother made my father she was pretty much with him like, look, either we get together or I'm leaving the state. And he was like, I don't want a relationship. So that's the decision he made. So I guess he didn't believe her at first, but she ended up leaving the state with me.
Yo.
And him. So
yeah, you might need to send me your mama Cash App, because I owe her a steak. If she don't eat red meat, I also have some chicken and fish. Bro, do you realize? You remember the question that I asked you? One of the initial questions was about the decision. And remember I said that there's certain times when a woman does not tell the child about their father because they're either keeping the father out of the loop or keeping the kid out of the loop. And the thing is, she told him, you ain't fucking with my kid if you ain't gonna be here.
Yeah.
And Malcolm's daddy was the one that was there, and she made an executive decision. You know, when people say stuff about, well, mama did the best they can do. Normally we say mama did the best they can do when mama did some bullshit. This was not bullshit. She did a literal executive decision, and she was able to be there for the plot resolution where he was like, yo, I was on some bullshit. I mean, we was just whatever. And, you know, she told me like, yo, you gonna be here for this kid or you ain't? And your mom is a winner, bro.
Yeah, she is
a winner, bro.
Yeah, and I love her for that. Like she definitely did the best she could do. And I meant every word of that. She really did. Like I grew up thinking, even though I know she's not now, but I grew up thinking that my mother was like Superwoman. You see what I'm saying? Like I seen nothing wrong and she could do no wrong in my eyes. You see, but now I look at her more as a human being now that she can mess up. But of course I never blamed her for anything. Like
we all fuck up, bro.
That's mama. So yeah.
But her strategy and her follow through, being able to be there at the end for you to understand. I know that ride back or that trip back home with her, you know, I know your heart. You probably was hugging her a lot more than you ever hugged her. You probably, because you really, really, really got to understand. And I think that's part of the beauty of this thing. And you are a father taking care of your daughters. You ain't no Pookie, you ain't no Ray Ray. The situations that you went through took you through a certain place, you know? And the fact you're able to see it, bro, you're blessed.
Yes. I got one more question.
You are blessed. There ain't no more damn questions, Andrea.
One more. I got one more.
You said we're making a movie. She want to make the 6-hour Gandhi movie.
Just one more. You know I'm gonna. I got questions. One more.
Andrea gonna turn this into the director's cut. Go ahead, Neil.
One more. So, since you made peace with your father, have you made peace that your daughter one day want to see her mother?
I'm gonna say this: like, I'm never gonna stop my daughter from seeing her mother if that's what she wants. But just right now, at the moment, she's never explained that she wanted to see her mother. She does ask about her, like, who is she? But she's never once just told me that she wanted to see her. Like I don't know. Matter of fact, I think it was her grandmama, my mother, who told her exactly. I didn't want my daughter to know what happened with the mother, because I didn't want it to seem like I was bashing the mama. So I never told her, but I think my mother did. She did tell her. So she knows what happened. So she's not really interested in seeing her. But if she does, yeah, I'll let her.
That's my last question, Chef. Okay. I love you, Real Talk 87. You know, at the end of the day, I have so much love for you. People always say that you was the only one who keep me level and keep me calm when I'm ready. When we was on Battle of Texas, shout out to Battle of Texas. They say
shout out to Battle of Texas.
I know she love you. She like, Chef, if we don't do this damn show, I ain't messing with y'all no more. I'm sick of this shit. 37, real talk. No, I'm joking.
I have so much love for you.
Listen.
I love you. Thank you for telling your story, because I think, you know, how can we get the other brothers who, like, you got out of jail, you're doing your thing, you're working, and some of them go back to jail? What is the how do you help that situation?
I mean, I would say this, like, it's okay. Like, I want men around the world to know it's okay to mess up. Everybody messes up. Just don't keep doing the same thing that you messed up the first time for doing it again. Don't do that. Learn from your mistakes. It's okay to mess up. I don't personally encourage anybody to go to jail. Like, I don't glorify prison or nothing like that. I never will. That's stupid to me. But if you do go to prison, just understand it's not the end of the world. Somebody will hire you. All right, you can turn your life around. It can happen. It's been done countless times, not by just me, but by a lot of people. prison ain't the end of the world, and you can mess up. Just don't lose hope. That's all I really got to say to the brothers out there. Do not lose hope at all. Don't do it.
Did you feel like the world was against you because you was a felon?
I did at first. I really did until like I said, within 2 months of me getting released, I found a job, a good job that I actually liked, which was a box truck driver. And then I eventually I'm gonna go for my CDL and be a actual truck driver. But now like I'm doing something I like. But yeah, at first, within my first couple of months, I did think the whole world was against me. I did believe that without a doubt.
And your job hired you because your job did hire you, even though you was a felon.
Yeah. Because the owner understood. He was like, I see a lot of potential in you. And it was a white man too. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I was like very grateful. So I'm pretty much like, I don't feel indebted to this job, but I feel like I do owe this job something because like you took a chance on me. You see what I'm saying? So like definitely.
So listen, man.
I think you got a beautiful story. And
Bro,
you should write that book.
let me say this to you. Understanding your story, and I speak to Andrea a lot. Right? You know, it's one thing to be like, "Good morning, chef." It's one thing, but then she hit you. Can you talk? You know what I'm saying? Every time I'd be like, man, I don't call that. I see that shit. I don't want to talk to her. And all they be like, she probably got something she need to talk to you. Talk to Andrea, yo. So it's like, you know, she brought you to the table, bro. And in terms of the conversations we have, she talks about positive life. I talk about positive life. We've all shared. She, myself, Vic, we've shared different aspects, you know, and your story was always something that was major. And what's crazy is when you look at that story, your story, we all know because quite honestly, the hustle was the hustle, but you didn't go to jail for hustling. You went to jail for defending yourself. You know, we see so many different things happen. We see that what was that Shawshank Redemption? We see all of these different things, and we see our brothers put into certain places. But some of us, when they see those brothers put into certain places where they didn't belong, we start to blame them for everything else. You know, there was little boozy conversations and all of that stuff that went on, you know, the past week. And people were talking about his reactions and or what he might have been doing, but ignoring the fact that his contact with those people was illegal. They were illegal for even messing with him, you know? So I gotta say this, you know, having you on the screen, I gotta give a big shout out to Andrea, right? And I want to say thank you. Thank you for being wise enough to recognize the dynamics that went on within your life and you keeping the level of strength and awareness about yourself to be able to be here and be a father to your daughters so that they don't become statistics and for the streets and the next hot girl, summer girls. You feel what I'm saying? So there's something that when I was thinking about this show, you know, it tied me into something else. It tied me into something else. And it reminded me of a brother named Archie Williams, you know. So I'm gonna say this to y'all. I'm about to put something in the chat, right? And y'all will understand when I do it. Because this clip is going to get a content claim, and I get it. Right? And because I think this dream is really important. At some point I may remove the clip itself. But here's what I'm doing for y'all right now. I just put the clip into the chat. So before I show the clip, I'd like you guys to copy and paste it somehow and keep it for yourself tonight. All right? I want you to copy it and keep it for yourself tonight so that you can go and look at it again, because more than likely, this stream has become more pivotal than I even expected. So if I have to clip that piece out, I'm going to do it. But I want you guys to be able to see this piece here where you can actually see where to go get it. All right. So when we talk about this right here, this is kind of a gift. And maybe I'm going to start doing that for the special guests, that we chronicle on the show. I kind of have a gift for you, my G. It's something that took place and it moved me a lot. Andrea called me, and I'm definitely off camera for this one. Andrea called me one day. I didn't answer her phone. Normally I do, but I was in my emotional pocket. So I'm going to show you something. This is my gift to you, my brother. Hold on one moment. Yeah.
I can't
So I know y'all seen Andrea. You seen her? You know what I mean? She got them tears and that crazy man.
Yeah.
She finna look like Harley Quinn,
Mhm.
right? When you know, when Andrea told me your story, fam, and in terms of, I went and got more details from you. But when she told me a story, and then I ended up seeing that clip, I called her and I told her, watch this, because I told her, I was like, yo, when you hit me up, I had a couple tears flowing. And I said, don't call me unless you watch this. I didn't want to talk to her ass unless she watched it. And when I had seen it, I was like, yo, we doing redemption ASAP. You feel me? And that's why she hit you up, was like, yo, you available this time? So I shared that. That was my little gift to you, my dude. We understand how life takes place. And I think that it's important for us to understand the folks that recognize moments of redemption. The folks that were not fucked up people, that were just got caught up in fucked up situations. And I think it's important for them because we throw people away too much. We throw people away too freaking much. And it's a shame. And we say, I don't mess with felons. I don't mess with this. I don't mess with that. I don't just do anything just to do. So what I want to do is this. I'm going to read something to you guys. If you wasn't, or you recognize, or you're going to recognize as you go along with this show, I don't just put information in there for nothing. I put two quotes. One quote by Lin Jensen, one quote by the famed actress Audrey Hepburn, a white lady, right? Lin Jensen said, redemption can be found in hell itself if that's where you happen to be. That means the fight, the toil, the fire you go through is part of the redemption. But then we go to Audrey Hepburn. She said, people, even more than things, have to be restored, renewed, revived, reclaimed, and redeemed. Never throw out anyone. Never throw out anyone. Never fucking throw out anyone. You understand? We all have a purpose. So I want to thank you, my dude. Real talk. Even the preparation for this show was important to me. I'm gonna try and keep it together. One of my homies, he had to turn himself in to do 10 years. Fed time. For something we know he did not do. Peace to Dread. He's a soldier. And he's a good guy. He's not a criminal. But because he's a civilian that grew up in Brooklyn, He's moving like a criminal in terms of shutting his mouth. 10 years, 10 years, 10 years. I'm not going to see my friend for 10 years. For some we know he didn't do. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you.
Hey, man. I appreciate you having me on, and Andrea Lynch as well. I appreciate y'all having me on, bro, for real. And I see you doing big things over here, man. Like I said, I've heard about you several times in the past from Andrea and E Black and several other people, man. So I haven't been over here as much as I should be over here. I've been neglecting my own channel lately. I just experienced burnout. But eventually I will be coming back around, bro, and showing your channel some love and all that, no doubt. I appreciate you having me on.
You know what? Yeah. This is what I tell him all the time about burnout. I tell him
oh yeah.
She does. She does.
Burnout is serious.
Burnout is serious. And
yeah.
I love you, Real Talk 87. I always thought your story was a wonderful story. Now knowing other details that I did not know, I commend you. I love you. You're that good brother. And there's something that's happened to you. And that story needs to be written down in a book. And you know I got love for you. I'm always have. You know, you got kindred spirits, okay? You can get through more than anybody else can, okay? Even when I'm hot-headed, I'm yelling and cussing at somebody.
Yeah, you know I love you too, Andrea. You and of course Shanita. Yeah, I love y'all. Y'all always been there for me. You know what I'm saying? Even when we be fighting, that shit ain't never serious, and hey, I'm always there for y'all. It's like y'all always there for me, no doubt.
And I think you're a wonderful father and a wonderful man, and the man that you are. Your mom should be proud of. And you know, Chef got us crying over here. We don't be crying on this show, Real Talk, but Chef got us crying.
I'm trying to figure out how you bring this fucking guy over here, get me in my fucking feelings and shit, man. You finna get fined off of this bullshit. How about that? Shit. But yo.
You know, I just want my people who I love to get to know the other people I love, because Chef and Big, they've been good brothers. And they say I'm an OG and I have helped them, but they have helped me too. They are good people, and I thought your story resonated. And I thought when I told Chef, I was like, we got to do this. I think this brother right here knows something. This brother right here, his redemption, how he's a good man, and how he changed their life around. Because you know, but some brothers don't go back to prison because they don't want to. They want to go back to the drug life because they had more money. Like you just said, look, I have a daughter. I have purpose. I cannot get out and start back doing drugs and start back doing selling. I got a daughter to take care of. Yeah. I think sometimes men don't understand the purpose instead of the selfishness of themselves.
That's right.
So yeah, we ain't gonna press this longer. I know I kept you longer than we expected, but I'm glad that you were able to flow with the organic aspect of this. Of candor, your level of openness, you know, your ability to recognize where you were right and wrong in the situation, and the fact that you were able to keep your head enough to flow through this, you know, into a positive manner. So I want to make sure that every single person that's watching this thing here, make sure that they go and subscribe to Real Talk 87. Real space talk with 87 connected to the talk. All right. And I want to thank you because quite honestly, bro, I had a feeling this was going to be powerful. I didn't recognize. I didn't even. I thought I was going to get you in your pocket. You got me into my pocket, fam. Real talk. Real talk. So,
yeah, no doubt, bro.
But that speaks to greatness. That speaks to the greatness of your story. And at this point, you know, they had power, but there's book 2, 3, and 4. I hope the book of Real Talk 87 book 2, book 3, book 4 even speaks higher than that redemption where we be past the redemption and talking speaking to a level of success. I'm gonna be in pocket. I'm gonna be watching. You know, you always welcome to this platform. You know, you got me choked up on my own goddamn show. So, you know, you better come back now. You owe me.
I will. Hey, I will be back to support you, bro. I will be back. I promise. And like I said, I've heard about you for a minute now. I just been what you would say a silent supporter. I ain't been saying a whole lot because I'm too busy out here. You see what I'm saying? So, but I've been watching you, bro. Like I see what you're doing, man. I love your content for real.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And I'm just trying to keep it organic. I don't always follow the rules. You know what I'm saying? I just hope within the rules and all of the minutia of this YouTube thing that people is able to find a message or figure where my head is at in this thing. I didn't want to just talk about your business. I wanted to talk about the feelings and the emotions of the person that drove the person to make the decisions that they made. And I think that's where we get the true understanding. So thank you for understanding, my dude.
And I want to say something real. I say something.
Mm-hmm.
That day we was on the channel, Victor Freeze talking about sports, and you was in the live, and I was on the thing.
I remember that day.
And you told Chef Andrea Lynch was a star. I know she was a star. That meant that this game. I was so proud and I was so thankful. And I called Shanita and said, "Girl, Real said I was a star."
yeah, you a star, yo.
I remember that day because Chef was in the chat and said something about Andrea. Andrea's a star now. And then I said in reply, I said, Andrea been a star. Y'all just didn't know yet. I've been knew that. Yeah, that's what it was.
Thank you so much.
Listen. Ain't nobody give a shit about Kelly or Michelle when they were singing with
Beyonce,
with Jonisha and Sanquisha over there on the west side. But then when they got with Beyonce, it was some other shit. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So it happens like that. And it's not a negative thing. It's just sometimes people have an opportunity to resonate in certain ways, depending on the music and depending on who's doing the ad libs and singing in harmony with them. But listen,
right?
I know I asked you for 2 hours. You gave us 3.5 hours. I appreciate you, yes. But I think that personally, for this portion, I think our work was done here. I think there's a lot emotionally that these folks will be able to absorb and think about. And I pray, if anything that happens, it will make those folks that have a relative, a friend, an acquaintance, someone near them that had to deal with the legal system, and that you think, give them an opportunity for you to understand if they really deserve to be where they are. You know, we got to reclaim our communities, and part of our communities are existing within the prison industrial complex. Period. Yeah. So let's start thinking about that. But with that being said, what I'm going to do first is let our special guest host tonight, the star of the show, the star of the movie, all right? And literally, I wanted to do you an honor in terms of getting the story out as lucidly and detailed as possible, you know, so that you take the shit, you download it, you send it to somebody who, you know, does screenplays and all of that other stuff. It'll give them an opportunity to take a look at your story and see, because I know there's a lot, and you know, you're a tricky dude too. There's a couple of things you left out there, but you know, we say that for the movie, right?
Right.
So, you know. So since you were the star of the show, I wanted to make sure that you were honored in a certain way. So, you know, feel free to take this and chop it up and do whatever you need. You a bigger content creator than myself, so it was an honor to be able.
I don't. You know. Hey, let me say this real quick, bro. I don't. I'm not that type to think I'm bigger than anybody. I'm only at 2,000. Like I don't like to claim myself bigger than anybody. I like to big up any YouTuber, big or small, especially the smaller YouTubers. I like to big all of y'all up. I don't like to say y'all smaller than me. We on the same playing field. That's how I look at it. So.
Well, yo, man, thank you. Thank you so much. So there's a thing that we do it in the beginning and we do it in the end. I want you to tell these folks what makes you a unique and special soul within this universe here.
You talking to me?
Yes.
What makes me a unique and special soul? Okay. Just the fact that I'm just an average guy trying to do average things, take care of my family, and understand that family does come first. I know that I make mistakes like anybody else does, and I know I can bounce back just as equally from these mistakes. Like my positive and my weakness is my heart. All right, I got a big heart, which is both good and bad at the same time. My strong heart can lead me to positive, like-minded, caring people, but it can also lead me to do things with people who I shouldn't even be around. All right, that's how strong my heart is. So that's both a good thing and a bad thing. It's both a good and bad trait for me. But yeah, I know I can see the good and the bad in people, but I can always be willing to help people with my story, with whatever. Like me just talking to people is one thing I can do to get through to people, to get them, hey, go in the right direction. You don't need to do that. You don't need to glorify prison. Like, don't glorify the street life, none of that. There's nothing good about it. So hopefully I did touch people with everything I had to say. And there are some things I did leave out still, but I mean, I just don't think it'll change the overall conclusion and point of the story. So I mean, hopefully y'all learn something from it. Hopefully there's something you can tell your children or somebody who's going through the same thing that I went through. Pretty much, tell them about it and tell them, man, just overcome it. All right, don't go through what I went through. Anything that if they in prison, man, go pay them a visit. All right. I know how some of y'all feel about seeing people in prison, but go see them. That'll help that person out greatly. All right. But I just want everybody to know, if y'all going through something, man, it's not the end of the world. Keep pushing. All right. Do not lose hope whatsoever. All right. This your boy, Real Talk.
There you go. And just for the record, y'all, want to let y'all know he was born in 87. That means he's 34. He finna turn 35 when?
Next month.
And he's single.
August 14th.
Wait, Andrea, hold on with your hot ass. You see, she's stroking her hair. So you already know she's getting moist. Wait, so real quick, when is your birthday?
Yeah. Hey, our birthday, August the 14th of 87.
My birthday is August 3rd, so we both.
Oh, two Leos in the house. Yeah.
Leo in the spot. Where we at? You got the lion over there, Leo in the spot. But yo, so let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, he went to jail, did all of those things, came out. So, you know, we're gonna save it for, you know, after he turns 35. You know, we're gonna talk about the other stuff because there's a different life. So we're gonna save that for, it's gonna be called the Fuck Nigga Chronicles. You know what I mean? Start because you hit the 30s, it's a different dynamic. I'm just playing.
Right.
But yo, Real Talk 87, thank you. Peace, love, and light. I'm about to drop you down. Before I drop you down, is there any last words you want to share with the garden? We call them the garden here.
Not much. If y'all do subscribe to my channel, please understand I've had a burnout lately, so I ain't been on my channel recently, but I will start back. But I'm doing new content when I get back on my channel. I'm gonna be doing more about what's happening in the Black community that very little people know about. That's what I'm gonna start doing from now on. So I'm gonna delete a lot of my older videos. I'll keep some up, but a lot of them I'll
delete.
Down.
You're gonna private. Don't delete. We don't
private
delete
them. Yeah, you're right. I will put them on private. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. But that's it. I appreciate. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, but I appreciate all y'all for listening to me. All right, everybody in the chat, Andrea, you especially, thank you for giving this story to Chef. And Chef, I appreciate you for having me on your panel.
And I appreciate you for being the star of the movie, my dude. And you earned it. And I pray for your success. I pray for your growth. I pray for, you being in pocket enough to make sure that the rest of the growth that your princesses have is going to create great moms like your mom was for you. So peace, love, and light, my dude. I appreciate you and thank you again. Thank you for making this something. All right.
I appreciate it. I'll holler at y'all.
Okay.
You as well, my dude.
Yeah.
Shit, yo.
I think you was gonna cry.
I didn't cry, goddammit. I don't know what the fuck you talking about. I control the editing of this shit. I didn't cry nothing.
Okay. Good job. It was a great interview. It was a great interview.
Yo, man.
Yeah.
I know. And listen, yo. Thank you, yo. I appreciate you. Real talk. Like, hold on one second. This is messing with me.
I appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate everybody being in the chat and saying thank you. It was a powerful story, we do got people that is in the prison system. We got friends who are left behind. And at this point, I would honestly say y'all might have changed my mind about my cousin that I have written off. He have contacted me, and my aunt's hoping when I come to North Carolina to go visit him in prison. I said I would write, but she hoping that I would go see him. But I told her I will start writing him and accepting his letters. And so that's my favorite cousin, and I told him I wasn't messing with him because it was a cross between I'm trying to keep my son out of prison, and I felt like I was being a hypocrite. And so this tonight made me see it in a different light, in a different way.
Well, I'm glad, yo. I mean, it was, you created the dynamic. You were the person that had, you had spoken about him several times. So I did not expect the depths of the conversation to go where it did. The questions that I was asking, those were not pre-prepared questions, To be honest with you, all BS aside, I had not watched, his video because Andrea told me about the power of the story. And I wanted to come in from the power of the story and not me knowing him as a content creator. I wanted my mind fresh because the person that we were talking about today was not the content creator, the polished content creator. We were talking about the regular brother. And I only wanted to know him as a regular brother when she told me his story. So I want to send a special shout out to my brothers. Special shout out to Andre Dubois, Dread. Special shout out to those people that are sitting within the belly of the prison industrial system that did not commit the crime that they are in prison for. And for those people that say, well, you know better. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. Fuck all of that. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. If they're innocent, they should be free. And the moment you twist your lips to say, well, they should have known this and that, I call you a slave, because they were innocent and they should be free. And at the point where they attempt to utilize all of the, or elicit all of the things that are available to free themselves, but you, as one of the people that could potentially be in the same position as them, sit there and want to talk about and extol all of the reasons why they shouldn't have behaved a certain way, I couldn't give two shits. They were innocent and they should be free. Stop being a slave.
And shout out to the Innocent Project, who is innocent, who is getting innocent men freed. To them.
Thank you.
If it wasn't for them, people would not be getting freed. Shout out to the Innocent Project. I said people should donate to the Innocent Project, because them lawyers, them brothers, them people are doing good to help get innocent people out of jail.
Thank you. And
If that's one organization we should be giving money to, it's the Innocent Project. Period.
Just put something into the chat. Go take a look yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Take a look. Go see the amount of people that were freed. We played a video. Peace to Archie Williams.
Yes.
That was very emotional.
Mm-hmm.
37 years of his life was given to the beast. 37 years. And there's still some people that say, well, he shouldn't have done something else. He shouldn't have done something else. And any of those people that say that, going forward, I will call you a slave to your face. You can be in the chat. You could be on the panel. You could give a super chat. At this point, understanding everything that I understand, when we know somebody is right and somebody's not doing wrong, but they're persecuted or treated unfairly, and you try to use previous stuff or whatever, I'm going to call you a slave. So be prepared. Whether I love you or I hate you. All right. So
I'm jealous of you.
Say it again.
I'm jealous of you.
Oh, you jealous? You just a jealous lady. That's the way you get.
I'm competitive too. When I see like Chef and Two Cups got 300 views, I was like, "What the hell's going on?" But somebody tell me they can't carry a show by himself. I never tell nobody.
I ain't tell you shit. I don't know what you're talking about. So I had told Andre, I was like, "Yo, because I'm so critical in myself, I have a tendency to over critique myself, and I said that when I do live shows, I be in my head a lot, you know, individual shows rather, not lives, but where it's just me. I be in my head so much trying to overthink, you know." So she was shocked behind that, because she says she likes my individual streams, you know, but that's for another show, yo. I think we give these folks a lot.
Yes.
Most of the night. You know, I think we gave ourselves a lot as well. You know, so what can I do? I want to thank everybody, each and every one of y'all, for joining us. Yes. But I'm going to give Andrea, because she knew Real Talk 87. She was the one that pressed for that particular episode. So I have to give this woman a full screen to let you know how special she is to us. There you go.
Well, I'm Andrea, and I love a comeback story. And I always thought Real Talk 87 had a comeback story, and a beautiful one. And I'm happy that the guard gets to know what the story was. And so I appreciate him. I appreciate him giving me his story. And I'm just Andrea, just trying to tell my truth, trying to get people a piece of what I love, and who I care about, and who I think is good for us to know. Because it's good people that's in the prison didn't do something. They're innocent. And you know what? We should start giving the Innocent Project some money, because them people, them lawyers, are helping get innocent men out of jail. and I just might start donating to them because that is a good project to donate. So y'all have a lovely night. Come back. We're gonna have Truth and Balance. We're gonna have Chef and Two Cups. We're gonna have me and Vic and Chef. We got a lot of shows over here. Just come on back and see us again. Y'all have a lovely night. I'll talk to y'all later. Goodbye.
God damn it. I was on mute, yo. And I was really, really cooking, yo. We're going to do a whole blooper tape of the times that I be on mute, man. So I'm going to start this again. Thank you for sending me that text, Andre. You're right on time, yo. So all I can say is this. Let's pay attention to our folks. Let's not throw our folks away. Let's understand that the world and society put certain things into play that may put us or lock us into a particular corner. I asked a lot of detailed questions of this brother. A lot of detailed questions of his brother. You know what I'm saying? Right? So, of this brother. And what I could tell you is this. In terms of the questions that I asked, he was able to answer them. And he was able to deliver a high degree of detail. And we heard what happened. We heard it from the horse's mouth. The beauty of it is the fact that we were able to hear the story, hear all the pieces, get the pieces that we missed, but still see this person as somebody that's successful and able to smile and able to share and able to love all on his daughters and create a new place for me. My biggest moment that I think tonight was this. There was a question that I asked him. And I seen his face and how he reacted. And he said it was a good question. I asked him, I was like, bro, so your two princesses that you have right now, they bring their boyfriend to the cookout or a family occasion. And that boyfriend reminds them of you at their age. What would you say? Let's say this, folks. In terms of moving forward, let's try this. When we see somebody that reminds us of who we are at a certain point in our life, talk about it. But don't just walk in telling them how fucked up their existence is. You got to first come and tell them, yo, I was you. This is who I was. And then they're going to be like, keep talking, OG. Tell me. Oh, snap. We have to share our weaknesses and Achilles heels sometimes in order to show someone how to move forward in a positive way. It's important. It's important. If you see yourself in another person, share with them the part in themselves that they don't know about themselves that they may have. I had a lot, yo. I had a lot. We felt a lot. We said a lot. It wasn't supposed to go this far. 2 hours and change. Well, look, we're approaching 4 minutes. So I thank each and every one of you folks for being a part of this exercise, for vibing with what Real Talk 87 was saying, and for allowing us to have this emotional catharsis. It's not over. We have more for you. We're not just about love, not just about peace, love, light, balance, accountability. We also about vibes. And thank you for sharing those vibes with us. And because you shared those vibes with us, we ain't kicking your ass out to the street. You know how it is. We're going to send y'all out of here what? Vibing. Peace, y'all. Love you. Come back to it.
Club phone jump, it's the weekend. You done come true with the big friends. Hitting down doors, that's a defense. Rolling with all, that's an offense. It me change, you let me peachin'. With a bull shaking to my maybe drop pins. Today on buy, and I say, today on buy, you the kid play, baby, tell me what you want. Julian, I know you need fun. Ever since remember we been knocking at the door. Y'all been moving paper, we be running up the school. Y'all before that pillar, we was sleeping on the floor. West side Africa, you know the shit ain't far. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Driving all night long. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Papa, baby, come roll with me. All night long. As times relax, my mind's relaxed. I got now from who got next. Here's my number, just send a text. You got a man and she responds, nah. Okay, sure enough. I'ma let you go, don't wanna hold you up. I'ma call your phone when I put it up. Whoever let you go must be them as far. Wait for. Girl, you so fine, I pay for. Fly you first class to the lake for. Body so blessed, I pray for. Body so blessed, I pray for. Because I don't care what you say. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Vibing, driving all night long. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Vibing, driving all night long. My nigga, I killed it. Night long. That's the part where you get your girl, nigga. Make sure she focused, nigga. Make sure you focus, nigga. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, hit it. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Vibing, driving all night long. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Vibing, driving all night long. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Vibing, driving all night long. I don't care what they say.
That's a hit for your ass, nigga. Hit for your ass, nigga.
We vibing all night long. Peace, love, and light. It was a real one.